Douluo, update the terms, start with incredible luck. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51 Level 50, 12-year-old Soul King. Now that the battle for the flame crystal is over, there is no need for this fire immortal to exist. Ling. The fire immortal has been replaced by the crystal of flame. The entry is changed. Crystal of flame, purple. You can condense special crystals in your body, condense the crystal of flame, or devour other flame crystals or soul cores to evolve. Lin Feng looked at the huge flame beast king's flame crystal and swallowed it in one gulp. Rather than condensing the flame crystal himself, he chose to use the flame beast king's directly. As the flame crystal turned into energy and merged into his body, a strong soul power in Lin Feng's body traveled through the meridians. For a moment, he only felt the blood in his body spurting, and a mouthful of blood was directly spit on the ground. Lin Feng released the soul power in his body with all his strength, guiding the energy emitted by the flame crystal in his body to gather in his abdomen. On the other side, Lin Yu released his martial soul true body and began to absorb the fire heart 7-leaf flower. The petals began to fall as Lin Yi's soul power was injected. Every petal that fell tempered the fire power in Lin Yi's body. Lin Yu felt the changes in his body and was surprised. One day later, as the last petal fell completely, Lin Yu completely absorbed the fire heart 7-leaf flower. 7th soul skill, martial soul true body. Lin Yu's body exuded golden flames. Although the quality of the flames was not as good as Lin Feng's ultimate fire, it would increase the fire as long as it was exposed to sunlight. At noon, it could even increase the power of the flame by 50%. It was also a good existence. Lin Yu's raised mouth corners revealed his satisfaction with his changes. Putting away the martial soul, Lin Yu leaped into the air. When he came to Lin Feng's room, he saw that he was still absorbing the energy of the Yanjing, so he went to find Dugu and the others first. Senior Dugu Yan, after absorbing the fairy grass, not only did the flames in my body change, but my soul power also increased by 2 levels. Now it is level 84, Lin Yu happily shared his good news with it too. Uncle Lin, where is Lin Feng? Dugu Yan poked his head out and looked behind Lin Yu, asking with a puzzled look. When I came out, I saw that Lin Feng was still absorbing the energy of the Yanjing. I guess it will be soon, Lin Feng sighed. He could clearly feel that a physical Yan crystal had condensed in his body. Although it was not exactly the same as the soul core, it was more condensed than the soul core. And because this Yan crystal was taken directly from the living Yan beast king, when the Yan crystal was integrated into Lin Feng's body, it was more compatible with it, and did not conflict with the original soul power and fire power. Half a day later, the soul core in Lin Feng's body was completely condensed. Then, Lin Feng took out the Yan crystal that he had obtained from the 10,000-year Yan beast before, and then injected energy into the soul core in his body. The red color in the sky dissipated, and all the energy of the Yan crystals gathered into a ray of red light and flowed into Lin Feng's body. Roar. Finally succeeded. And my own soul power has reached level 50, it's just that the 10,000-year Yan crystal has improved too little. Most of the upgrade to level 50 is due to the Yan crystal of the Yan beast king. Lin Feng sighed and stood up. Although most of the soul power of the Yan beast king Yan crystal was used to condense the Yan crystal, the slightly diffused one still allowed him to break through 2 levels. A level 50 soul master is nothing on the mainland. But now he feels very safe. The flame crystal in his body was condensed by the flame beast king, devouring hundreds of flame beasts, and it contains huge soul power. Now it is completely his. If he sacrifices the flame crystal, he can now exert the attack of the flame beast king. However, after one attack, the soul power in the flame crystal will be drained, and it will take a month to replenish. At the same time, the flame crystal is extremely hard and can even withstand an attack from a Titled Douluo. Xiao Feng is out, Dugu Bo immediately said to Lin Yi and Yaner after feeling the energy around the wooden house dissipate. The next second, Lin Feng followed Dugu Yan's breath and came to the front of several people. Lin Feng, you succeeded, how do you feel now? Dugu Yan walked up happily and asked with concern. Yet, I have absorbed both pieces of flame crystal, and my soul power has been raised to level 50, I feel fine now, Lin Feng said to the 3 people with a calm face. Awesome, Dugu Yan couldn't help but give a thumbs up. Sure enough, 12-year-old Soul King, Lin Feng, your current cultivation speed is simply amazing. Dugu praised Lin Feng again and again. 50 levels less. When Lin Feng obtains Soul King and breaks through Soul King, his soul power will definitely increase. He didn't know that Lin Feng didn't use the Yanjing to improve his soul power, but turned it into his own Yanjing. I wonder what's going on in the lava land now, Lin Feng suddenly asked curiously. The Yan Beast King is dead, and the Soul Master War triggered must have heavy casualties. I don't know, let's go and see. Dugu Yan walked up and took Lin Feng's hand. No matter what Lin Feng does, she is willing to stay with her. Lin Feng, you have absorbed the Yanjing of the Soul Beast King now, will they notice it? Lin Yi asked with a worried look on his face. No, Lin Feng said firmly. Although Yanjing is now formed in his body, because it fits himself very well, basically no one can notice it. Uncle Lin, what are you afraid of? My grandfather is still here. Dugu Yan put his hands on his waist and questioned Lin Yi on behalf of Lin Feng. Ha, let's go quickly. Why are you still standing there? Dugu ended the argument and suggested. The center of the lava zone. After the Soul Master War, the land was soaked in blood, corpses were everywhere, and it was dead silent. Dugu Yan couldn't help swallowing his saliva as he looked at the bloody scene in front of him. Is this a beast tide? Dugu Yan asked with a trembling voice. I don't know, when Grandpa left, there weren't so many flame beasts here. Who? Dugu turned his head and looked coldly. He saw the disheveled Liu Erlong dragging his burned body out from behind the stone. Senior Dugu, why are you here? Liu Erlong's face was full of fatigue, but his eyes looked at Dugu in surprise. What? From what you said, I can't come here. Let me ask you, what happened here? Dugu released a tidal level pressure, instantly shocking Liu Erlong. I didn't mean that, Senior. After you left, a wave of flame beasts suddenly appeared for some reason. Everyone fought for the flame crystals and soul bones. Later, someone dug out a 10,000-year soul bone, and Ho Long, the two elders of Xiandao Academy, and I chased after them. As a result, I was injured in the melee, so I thought about coming back to see if there were any more flame crystals that could be used, Liu Erlong said respectfully. 10,000-year soul bone. Dugu instantly became interested. There is a 10,000-year soul bone? Grandpa, I want it. Dugu Yan heard this and happily hugged Dugu's arm. Ha, Yaner, don't worry, this soul bone must be yours. After finding out the exact location, Dugu led Lin Feng and others to rush there quickly. Chapter 52, 10,000-year soul bone obtained. Behind him, Liu Erlong looked at Dugu with envy. If he was also a titled Douluo, how could he be injured? I'm afraid the soul bone has been in his hands for a long time. So many people paid their lives but didn't get it. Now that Dugu is gone, the soul bone must be his. Dugu Yan, how lucky she is to have such a powerful titled Douluo grandfather who treats her so well. In the wild, after a battle for soul bones, many people died. Qin Ming looked at the pile of corpses in front of him with trembling all over. Next to him was Yan Kui's body. There were 7 teachers who came, and only 5 survived including him. This was because of the constant protection of the 2 Soul Douluo Education Committee. Why is this happening? He just wanted to fight for the Soul Beast. Why did everyone fight like crazy and so many people died? He had been in the academy before, and this was the first time he encountered such a crazy killing. Qin Ming, Bai Baoshan and Zilin leaned against each other tightly, looking at everyone vigilantly, breathing heavily. Ho Long was alone and not in a good condition. He was gathering with them. In front of them was a huge crowd of Soul Kings, Soul Emperors, Soul Saints, and even a group of wolf bandits who joined in the middle. Everyone surrounded them together. Hey, old Bai, no matter whether you can keep the soul bone in the end, you must not lose the 1 million yuan hiring fee promised to me, Ho Long said tiredly to Bai Baoshan. The Fire Leopard sect led by Ho Yanbao had already been driven out of the battlefield by the concentrated fire. In the end, the sect leader Ho Yanbao had to abandon the soul bone and flee in embarrassment. Now the 10,000-year soul bone is in Bai Baoshan's hands. Humph, don't worry, you won't lose it. Before Bai Baoshan could speak, the hot-tempered Lin next to him spoke first. Bai Baoshan, you Xiandao Academy quickly hand over the soul bone. A soul saint on the opposite side shouted at several people. You are just a soul saint level, you are so arrogant. Lin looked at this ignorant kid with disdain. The 10,000-year soul bone is worth millions of gold coins, and everyone wants it. Senior, Why don't you hand over the soul bone? Even if we save the soul bone, everyone will suffer heavy losses. Is it worth sacrificing so many lives for a soul bone? Qinming glanced at the body of Yanquer beside him, and after struggling in his heart, he stepped forward and said, "What are you talking about, Qinming?" Lin was furious when he heard this, and shouted angrily. "If it weren't for protecting you, we Soul Douluo would have left with a soul bone long ago. What can these soul saints Karami do?" Qinming was stunned, as if he didn't expect Lin's education committee to be so furious. In fact, it's very simple. Xiandao Academy is not Shrek, let alone a family power. There is no blood relationship between teachers, they are just colleagues. This is equivalent to, I stayed to protect you with good intentions, but you still think I did too little, and ask me why I didn't give up the soul bone to protect everyone? Do we know each other well? No one can snatch the soul bone from Xiandao Academy. Put away your compassionate attitude in front of strength. Lin was furious when he heard this, and was extremely dissatisfied in his heart, and shouted angrily. Bai Baoshan looked at Qinming with disappointment, and he had lost the thought of promoting him. It turns out that our lives are far less important than soul bones. At this time, Qinming's eyes were dull, as if he had suffered a huge blow. The once warm Xiandao Academy now seemed so cold. If Dean Fu were here, he would definitely not want us to die, he murmured in a low voice. Is this kid scared silly? Hulong looked at Qinming's silly look with a slight glance at the corner of his mouth, and his eyes showed disdain. It's just that a few Soul King teachers died. How much salary did Xiandao Academy pay them in total? It only added up to tens of thousands. Now they can exchange for a soul bone. Xiandao Academy made a lot of money. He was almost envious. Okay, since you don't want to pay, don't blame us for taking action, everyone. Several Soul Douluos have fought each other before and now they are all injured. Why don't we attack together and snatch this soul bone from him? Everyone heard the voice of condemnation. Several soul saints who did not participate in the fight of the Fire Leopard sect and were almost in full condition took the lead in attacking. 7th Soul Skill, Martial Soul True Body. The sky was dyed with soul skills of various colors, and the target was only a few people in the center. Seeing this, Bai Baoshan and Hulong also hurriedly released their soul skills to resist. Zilin was responsible for protecting several teachers. For a moment, the calm scene was in chaos again. At this time, a figure appeared in the sky in the distance, and Dugu transformed into the Bailan Snake King and descended. Whoever touches my soul bone will die, Dugu shouted, and everyone present stopped fighting. It's Poison Douluo. Why is Poison Douluo here? Didn't he leave? What do you mean by your soul bone, you shameless Titled Douluo? Whether it was Soul Douluo or Soul Saint, they all felt like they had eaten a mouthful of shit at this moment. The deck in hands might fly away. Your Majesty, Poison Douluo wants soul bones. Don't you forget that our Xiandao Academy is a royal academy, Bai Baoshan said tremblingly. How about the royal family? Am I not a member of the royal family? With this question, Bai Baoshan's originally slightly tough tone wilted. I almost forgot that Poison Douluo is a guest of Xiandao. Dugu hooked his finger and the soul bone fell into his hand. The onlookers looked at the scene in front of them and did not dare to move. This is a Titled Douluo, and they are not at the same level as the Titled Douluo. What's more, this Poison Douluo is best at group attack and bullying. Once his 9th soul skill is really used on them, no one present will survive. After Dugu took the soul bone away, the atmosphere of the people present dropped to the freezing point. After fighting for so long, nothing was gained in the end. On the other side, Yaner, give you a soul bone. Lin Feng already has 2 soul bones, and now you have 1 too. Dugu blinked at Dugu Yan and said earnestly. But the other party didn't understand what he meant, or didn't care. Lin Feng, here you go. Dugu Yan happily took the soul bone and turned around to hand it to Lin Feng behind him. Yaner, how can this be? Grandpa's right. You still don't have a soul bone. You should absorb this one. Lin Feng refused with both hands. Dugu, who was standing aside, looked at the 2 people being humble to each other and his face instantly turned red with anger. Okay. If you come across any treasures in the future, you should keep them for your old age. Chapter 53 New Entry, Wandering in the Sky. Oh. Lin Feng, don't refuse me. The soul bone attribute of this flame beast is definitely not suitable for me. You are a fire attribute soul master, so you should absorb it. If you have the chance to come across a good soul bone in the future, just give it to me. Dugu Yan looked at Lin Feng's repeated refusal and stuffed the soul bone into his hand. Well, then, I will keep it for you and Grandpa when there are good immortal herbs and soul bones. Lin Feng took the soul bone and looked at Dugu Yan and Dugu Bo with mixed feelings. Yet, in that case, Xia Fen, you should absorb the soul bone quickly. Dugu Bo stroked his beard and felt that what Tian'er said was unreasonable. The soul bone exploded by this fire attribute soul beast is indeed not suitable for Yaner. It was his own consideration just now. Lin Yu was overjoyed when he saw that Lin Feng had another soul bone in his hand. His son might become the soul master with the most soul bones in the history of the continent. Lin Feng found a place to sit cross-legged again, closed his eyes and released his soul power to act on this soul bone to establish a connection with it. The fiery red light lit up and quickly flew into Lin Feng's right arm. At this moment, a picture suddenly appeared in Lin Feng's mind. The true dragon hand, which was also the soul bone of the right arm, transformed into a black illusory real body and stared closely at the 10,000 years flame beast in front of him. When the 10,000 years flame beast felt the gaze of the dragon, it seemed particularly well behaved, and had the intention of surrendering. In almost a moment, the 10,000 years flame beast's soul bone had been attached to Lin Feng's right arm. At this point, Lin Feng's right arm had two soul bones, the true dragon hand and the converging flame. Lin Feng opened his eyes and stood up, slowly raising his right hand. The right arm soul bone of the 10,000 years flame beast, converging flame. I saw that a virtual flame beast appeared on Lin Feng's right arm, and the extreme fire emanating from Lin Feng slowly condensed towards his right arm. The next moment, a lotus-shaped flame formed by the gathering of the extreme fire shot straight forward, with a diameter of dozens of meters. In an instant, no grass grew wherever the fire lotus passed, leaving behind a long burning mark. In the end, the fire lotus actually smashed a large pit of dozens of meters in the distance. Lin Yu looked at the power of Lin Feng's soul bone and was shocked. If he were to catch this fire lotus, he would have to use a lot of strength. My right arm soul bone can gather the ultimate fire in my body and the fire elements in the environment around me. I can condense the power in my palm for close combat, and I can turn it into a fire lotus for long-range attack. Lin Feng opened his hand, clenched his fist, and explained with a focused look. Not bad, not bad. Now that the soul bone has been absorbed, let's go deep into the forest to find Fenger's fifth soul ring. Dugu Bo nodded, smiled and arranged the next itinerary. Wow, Lin Feng, you are about to break through the Soul King. I still can't believe it now, Dugu Yan shouted happily, jumping and hopping to keep up with the pace of Lin Yi and Dugu Bo Sr. You said that Fenger's soul power is improving so fast. Will it have any effect on his body? Lin Yi asked Dugu Bo with a worried look. To be honest, I'm not sure. After all, there has not been a person on the continent who has been promoted more than 10 levels in a few days. After Xia Feng obtains his fifth soul ring this time, let him condense his soul power. I'm preparing some elixirs for him to strengthen his body. The child has lost weight in recent days. Xia Feng, when I go back in 2 days, I will make you some Chinese medicine the Tian'er drank when he was a child. Okay, Dugu Bo replied earnestly, and suddenly found that something seemed to be missing. Xia Feng, hey, where's he? Didn't Fenger catch up? Dugu Bo had a question mark on his face. I don't know either. I remember following him. Lin Yu waved his hand. Behind him. You guys are chatting so enthusiastically. Did you forget about me? Lin Feng looked gloomy and met the eyes of the few people who turned around. Hey, why haven't you left yet? Lin Feng. Dugu Yan hurriedly ran back and pulled Lin Feng up and said gently. Ha, I'm talking to Xia Feng. You can't turn off the soul skill you created yourself. I always forget you, your grandpa. I'm old, and my memory's not good. Dugu Bo walked towards Lin Feng quickly, smiling embarrassedly. Oh, I know, it will be fine soon. Lin Feng sighed weakly. He shouted in his heart. I can't do it for the time being. This entry is really useful when it comes to trouble, but it's a bit troublesome in daily life. Next time, see if there are any good entries and refresh them. Wuhan Hall. In the conference hall, Bi Bidong sat upright in the hall. In the center of the hall was the body of the dead Flame Beast King. Your Highness, we failed to obtain the soul crystal of the Flame Beast King this time, according to the burn marks on the flame crystal, Yu Guan, and I suspect that it was done by a hidden fire attribute titled Douluo in the continent. Gui Mei bowed and saluted, with a respectful look on his face. I know, you can go down first, on the high platform. Bi Bidong simply glanced at the injured part of the Flame Beast King. She waved her hand and let the two leave, seemingly not caring about their failure this time. Zhu Jiyui and the other two left the hall. Old ghost, you said that His Majesty the Pope did not blame you this time. Is there really a hidden fire attribute titled Douluo in the continent? Yu Guan was still feeling lucky that he did not receive any punishment for the failure of this mission, and asked Jiyui Mei. At this time, he felt that this matter should be as they thought, and there was nothing wrong. A mere titled Douluo with a fire attribute, hiding in front of them and doing some sneaky things, what kind of strength can he have? Compared with his spirit hall, he is at most a bigger ant. Jiyui Mei looked ugly, dumbfounded, and said with a grudge about the failure of this mission. If I see him next time, I will grind him to ashes. Spirit hall training ground. Ah. Why? Why is it like this? Yan looked crazy, waving his fist at the plum blossom pile in front of him without any effort. Obviously, the opportunity is within my reach. How can it disappear just like that? If I can get the Yanjing of the Yan Beast King this time, I can surpass Nana and become the Holy Sun. Nana is mine. Ah bang! As the last punch fell, there was no intact object on the training ground for him to attack. The center of the sunset forest. It was dawn. In the tent, Lin Feng, who had rested for a night, woke up early. Today is the day for his entry to refresh. System. Entries refresh, Ling. All entries have been refreshed. Lin Feng roughly looked at the results after the refresh, and no upgrade was triggered. The permanent entries were retained, and many other entries were not as good as the original ones. There were even entries like women's friends that tested one's personality. Is he Lin Feng that kind of person? Thank you for the monthly tickets sent by I Love You, 6724, Memories of Beauty, Watching Fireworks, 5713, and Liu Zixuan. Please read the latest chapters and leave more comments. Chapter 54 Refresh Tang Hao, the Father of Destiny. Finally, the next entry of the marginal person is refreshed. Ling. The entry of the marginal person has been refreshed. Friends with honesty. Purple. If you treat others with honesty, others will treat you with honesty. Perspective. Purple. You can see through everything, whether it is a beautiful woman's clothes or hard metal. Wandering in the sky. Purple. You can leave your body and wander around the world, and travel thousands of miles in an instant. But you can't attack or be attacked. Friends with honesty? This kind of thing can actually be ranked purple? Before, Dugubo's Hongno was only white, okay? Perspective? System, you use this to test cutters? But I have to say that you are really good at judging people. The system chooses. Hey, this one is wandering in the sky. The soul leaves the body, wanders around the world, and travels thousands of miles in an instant. Hiss. This one seems to be better. System, marginal person changed to wandering in the sky, Ling. The entry of marginal person has been updated to wandering in the sky. Isn't wandering in the sky better than your perspective? The soul can also pass through walls. After making the choice, Lin Feng closed his eyes quietly. A shadowy soul flew out of the tent from above his head. Next to him, Dugu Yan opened the tent, sleeping lazily, smacking his lips from time to time. Further ahead, his father Lin Yi and grandfather Dugubo were keeping watch not far away. Lin Feng moved his soul body closer to the two. Master Lin, how is the border war going recently? Thanks to your concern, the border is doing well recently. The Xingluo Empire has been very quiet recently, and I have time to spend more time with Fenger at home. The two were concentrating on discussing the war, and Dugubo didn't even notice the existence of his soul body. Lin Feng couldn't help but guess in his heart. This titled Douluo with such a powerful mental power couldn't even detect his soul, and the concealment of this wandering soul was simply too amazing. Then, Lin Feng controlled his soul to fly towards the outskirts of the forest, and all kinds of shrubs and flowers quickly retreated backwards. In just a moment, his soul body had actually run thousands of miles away. When he stopped and looked, there was no shadow of the sunset forest. Lin Feng was overjoyed. What was the difference between the speed and the ancient book about Feng Su riding the wind and soaring up? Lin Feng flew forward for a few seconds again according to the route he had investigated before. He stopped and saw a village appearing in front of him. On a huge stone at the entrance of the village were three beautiful characters, Holy Soul Village. That's right, this is where Tang San lives. In the middle of the village, there is a winding path paved with bluestone. From time to time, you can see wildflowers blooming on the roadside and hear the sound of gurgling streams outside the village. In the quiet early morning, Curls of smoke rose from several houses, reflecting the simple yet warm atmosphere of life. Going into the village, Lin Feng found the only blacksmith's house in the village. A middle-aged man was slumped in a rocking chair, holding an unfinished bottle of soju in his hand. Is this man Tang Hao? Lin Feng looked carefully and saw that under his messy stubble were traces of the vicissitudes of life. He looked like he had suffered a lot. Although I felt sorry for Tang Hao's experience when I was on Blue Star, now is not the time to sigh. System, check the entries. Tang Hao, age 49, gender, male, innate soul power, level 10, martial soul, clear sky hammer, top level, soul power, level 94, entries, strict father, white, I love ring blast, green, forging master, purple, outstanding talent, purple, father of destiny, gold, father of destiny, gold, you are the father of the son of destiny, and the future is bright. I said that Tang Hao at least has a golden entry. System, copy the entry, father of destiny. Lin Feng thought that he should copy the entry first, and then see which one to replace after obtaining the soul ring. He looked up at Tang Hao in front of him again. Thinking in his heart, he refreshed his entry first. The reason why Tang San can grow up in the future is that his father Tang Hao can be said to have played the biggest role. Tang San always thought that Tang Hao was an alcoholic. But the ancient concept of father and son was very strong, so he was still respectful to Tang Hao and took care of him personally. From this, it can be seen that Tang San has his own set of principles in his heart. And later, Tang San did create how much he was a person with principles in front of others. However, what he didn't know was how much Tang Hao loved him. Not only did he reveal his identity to the master and let the master take good care of Tang San, but he also rescued him from the spirit hall and sent him to the slaughter city. It can be said that he paved the way for him. If there was no Tang Hao, I wonder how much luck Tang San, the son of destiny, could have played? He did it as soon as he said it. System, refresh all Tang Hao's entries. Lin Feng waved his little hand and took the lead in looking at the refreshed strict father entry. Selfish, white, you will become extremely selfish and consider your own interests everywhere. Venerable, white, you are compassionate, a mother of the world, and have a saintly heart. Indifferent, white, you will be indifferent to others and will not care about things that do not affect your own interests. Seeing the term indifferent, Lin Feng's eyes were fierce, and he decisively chose it. Tang San, your father will really be indifferent to you now. Put away your hypocritical principles in the future, and just play your filial piety in front of the hall. Ring explosion is Tang Hao's most important means of combat power. After Lin Feng closed his eyes and thought briefly, he changed I love ring explosion to Bacchus. Bacchus, green, you like to drink very much and get drunk all day long. Before, Tang Hao drank to get drunk, so as to ease the Dugu Yan in his heart, but he didn't really want to drink. But now after the term was changed, he just likes to drink, no longer mixed with any emotions. Forging master and outstanding talent, Lin Feng looked at the panel and did not choose to change. The first is that there is no term to change. The other is that several terms have not refreshed the second soul power term, so there is no way to change. Finally, Lin Feng looked at the last refreshed golden term father of destiny, Sharingan, gold, you have the eye of soul reflection. After feeling enough pain, the eye will evolve. High priest of hammer god, gold, you are the spokesperson of hammer god in Douluo Continent, equivalent to Jin Daoliu and Poseidon. You are qualified to start the hammer god test and can sacrifice yourself to start the 9th test of hammer god, soul bone explosion, gold, you have a high probability of exploding soul bones when you kill soul beasts. Soul bones will definitely explode when you kill soul beasts over 50,000 years old. Hiss. Sharingan. Lin Feng was surprised. This thing must not be given. With Tang Hao going through this pain, it is possible that he can open the main Gekio directly even if he has the Sharingan and does not evolve it. High priest of hammer god. Although Tang Hao is no longer a strict father, but Lin Feng couldn't help but feel it in his heart. If this is selected, it will definitely be Tang San's opportunity. Soul bone explosion. Lin Feng looked at this with light in his eyes. Such a good thing. I should have known not to copy the father of destiny. Lin Feng felt a little pity, looking at the refreshed entry helplessly. Why can a person only copy this copied entry once? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55. Copy the red entry, Tang Xianshan, Son of Destiny. Oh, forget it. Lin Feng thought about it again and again, and comforted himself in his heart. The entry can be refreshed once every 7 days. At worst, I can refresh it myself later. As long as it is gold, it is not bad. In the end, Lin Feng did not hesitate and directly replaced the Father of Destiny with a soul bone explosion. The main reason is that Tang Hao already has 9 soul rings, and it is highly likely that he will not think about hunting soul beasts again. After replacing Tang Hao's entry, Lin Feng controlled the soul to enter the room and searched around. Huh? Tang San is not here. Lin Feng did not find the target, and he was not anxious in his heart, knowing that the other party should be there at this moment. He flew into the sky and quickly came to a waterfall next to the village. Under the waterfall, a child with ordinary appearance and thin body was running around the pool. Sure enough, Tang San, who has the memory of his previous life, started exercising since he was a child. System, check the entries. Tang San, age 5 years old, gender, male, innate soul power 10, martial soul, twin martial soul, blue silver grass, unawakened useless martial soul, clear sky hammer, unawakened top level, soul power, unawakened, entries, extreme confidence, white, way of death, purple, Tangsek trader, purple, outstanding talent, purple, twin martial soul, gold, young god king, red, child of destiny, red, 2 reds, 1 gold, and 3 purples? Lin Feng looked at such a luxurious panel for a while, and was excited with a few words of fuck you. This is too abnormal. It's no wonder that he is the protagonist. Someone set it up to be so awesome, right? After recovering from his shock, Lin Feng looked at Tang San's panel seriously. Extremely confident? He thought that according to Tang San's personality, he would be a double standard anyway. Extremely confident, white. You think everything you say is right. Indeed, this description of extreme confidence is not wrong. He thinks he is right about everything. This is more suitable for Tang San. The way to death, purple. If you tell someone you already have the way to death, it will bring bad luck to them. Lin Feng smiled speechlessly at this entry. Haha. The third article of Tang Sek's Zuanshan Baolu, general outline. If you are sure that the opponent is an enemy, as long as there is a way to death, there is no need to show mercy, otherwise it will only add trouble to yourself. What a person who is willing to stick to his inner principles. Tang Sect trader, purple. You stole the Tang Sect secret book and are a traitor to the Tang Sect. Haha, no wonder it is purple. It turns out that the knowledge of Zuanshan Guang and hidden weapons is also included. These hidden weapons can even kill Titled Douluo. Then this entry is more than enough to be purple. Needless to say, Lin Feng also wants the twin martial spirits, but he can only copy 1 entry from 1 person. Finally, Lin Feng looked at the last 2 red entries with excitement. Young God King, red. You will be the future God King, child of destiny, red. The entry evolved from the Son of Luck. You are the one chosen by destiny, bearing the mission and responsibility of heaven, 2 red. Child of infancy? An entry without any other abilities, only representing its future destiny. Lin Feng suddenly remembered that he had a purple entry, Centennial title. Sure enough, this one could match the red. But he wouldn't want this one. So, let's copy this child of destiny. But before copying the child of destiny, you need to use up the father of destiny that you copied before. Lin Feng checked his own panel and chose to replace Zunlongfenjin. System, Zunlongfenjin replaces the child of destiny. Now that he has this divine travel outside the sky, the speed can be said to be a batch of fast, and he can also use it to explore treasures in the future. Ling. Zunlongfenjin has replaced the child of destiny. After the replacement, Lin Feng compared his own panel with Tang San. Looking at the entry of Yanxi Crystal, he wanted to replace it for a while. But then he thought, if he replaced it now, wouldn't the soul core in his body be gone? I can think of a way later to study how to make my body accommodate the soul core of Yanjing, and then replace it. Just like when I chose the Flying Master before, after refreshing, he can still fly. The knowledge learned and the ability to comprehend in the entry will not disappear with the refreshing or modification of the entry. Now, with a child of destiny, Lin Feng thought that he could wait until the soul ring has a new entry before copying it. Lin Feng looked at his entry with satisfaction. Now, he is also a person with a red entry. Next, Refresh Tang San's entry. Lin Feng, are you awake? I'm coming in. At this moment, Lin Feng's main body in the tent suddenly heard Dugu Yan's shout. In desperation, Lin Feng quickly refreshed Tang San's extremely confident entry. The entry has been refreshed. Please choose one of the 3 entries below: perseverance, brave, love beauty. Love beauty. Love beauty. Must love beauty. After Lin Feng hurriedly chose, he hurriedly returned to his main body. Come in. Dugu Yan came in and looked at him curiously. Why have you slept for so long and haven't gotten up yet? Uncle Lin just made some beast soup and asked me to wake you up for dinner. Are you sick? Dugu Yan put her hand on Lin Feng's forehead in confusion and felt the temperature. Haha, I've been too tired recently and slept a little longer. Let's go. Lin Feng smiled and touched Dugu Yan's head and said. After dinner, several people headed deep into the sunset forest to continue looking for a suitable soul beast for Lin Feng. At the same time, in the Holy Soul Village, under the waterfall, a young soul began to become a little different. Tang San stood there, with a blank look on his face. Why should I do such a vulgar thing? I'm sweating all over, it's so uncomfortable, I want to take a shower and smell good. Tang San's voice was gentle and immature, mixed with a hint of resentment. I love taking a shower, my skin is so good, oh. Then, Tang San took off his clothes, hummed a little tune and plunged into the pool under the waterfall beside him. Chapter 56 Tang Hao, you have already found a way to die? Please read on and give me your votes. Dear readers, Tang San walked along the bluestone path. He picked the wild flowers on both sides of the road and made a wreath for himself, wearing it on his head, humming leisurely as he walked towards home. Just as he stepped into the village, an old man over 70 years old with gray hair. His eyes were like being attracted by a magnet, and he instantly stayed on Tang San. Old Jack wanted to go up and greet him. But when he saw Tang San wearing a wreath and loving beauty, he froze in his place, wanting to say something but stopped. The words that were just on his lips seemed to be pulled back by an invisible hand. Is this really Xiao San? Old Jack was full of disbelief. For a moment, he felt that his cognition was severely impacted by the scene in front of him. Well, the child can come up with one thing at a time. It's just dressing up, so what's wrong with that? Old Jack hunched his back and hurriedly turned away, fearing that Tang San would notice him and greet him. Bang! As soon as Tang San stepped into the house, he heard the familiar sound of his father Tang Hao smashing a wine bottle. Xiao San, hurry up and bring me some wine, I know you're back, don't dawdle. Tang Hao was drunk, staggering, waving his arms in the air, shouting at the top of his lungs. Drink till you die, what else can you do besides drinking all day? Tang San grumbled in dissatisfaction, but he quickly handed the opened bottle of wine to Tang Hao. But today, he looked a little different. Yin. You're back. Tang Hao's eyes were blurred, as if he was shrouded in mist. Looking at the familiar face, the voice and smile of his wife Yin appeared clearly in his mind again. It's because of you that Yin died, it's all your fault, give me my Yin back. At that moment, Tang Hao suddenly saw that it was Tang San standing in front of him, his eyes were red. He pulled out the whip and whipped Tang San without hesitation. I asked you to give birth, and I asked you to implicate Yin. Tang Hao drank and whipped Tang San, spitting wine on the whip from time to time. The sudden pain made Tang San tremble all over, shock and pain intertwined, and he couldn't help screaming. What happened to Tang Hao today? What kind of crazy whipping? Pa. The sound of the whip falling continued. But in the blink of an eye, Tang San's back became blue and purple, full of scars. The anger in Tang San's heart was like a gunpowder barrel that was ignited in an instant. Burning fiercely, it was out of control. He was a genius disciple of the dignified Tang sect. I came to Douluo Continent by accident, and I endured humiliation every day to serve you Tang Hao, and now you dare to hit me. This is a great shame. Tang Hao, you have already chosen your death. Sunset Forest. The wind was howling, as if countless beasts were roaring. Lin Feng and his group shuttled through it. Suddenly, a low and sad cry came over, instantly attracting everyone's attention. Everyone looked up and saw a lame fire-winged sky dragon flapping its huge wings with all its might, hovering tenaciously in the air. The golden scales radiated dazzling light under the sun, and its piercing eyes revealed endless power and wisdom. Hoo! The fire-winged sky dragon flapped its wings again, making a dull and heavy roar, and kept circling over everyone's heads. Roar, Xia Feng, your luck is simply against the sky. You actually ran into a wounded 10,000-year-old fire-winged dragon. If you get its spirit ring, won't your strength increase again? Dugubo's face was full of excitement and surprise. While looking up at the sky, he said loudly to Lin Feng. In his tone, it seemed as if he had seen that Lin Feng's strength had greatly increased. Senior, I think this fire-winged dragon is probably 20,000 years old. With Xia Feng's current strength, it will be very difficult to absorb its spirit ring. I think we should not take risks, and go find other suitable spirit beasts elsewhere. Lin Yi frowned slightly, and took a closer look at the fire-winged dragon. He quickly refuted Dugubo's unreliable idea. Father, don't worry. I took the fairy grass before, and my physical fitness has made a qualitative leap. I am sure I can absorb the spirit ring of this fire-winged dragon. Lin Feng looked confident, looking at Lin Yi, his mouth corners slightly raised, and his eyes revealed an unquestionable firmness. What's more, he has Yanjing in his body, which can also enhance his physical fitness. Now his body is as strong as a young Yan beast. Yes, Uncle Lin, Lin Feng and I both absorbed our fourth spirit rings by leaps and bounds. I know his strength best, and there will be no problem this time. Although Dugu Yan said it confidently, he was still a little worried in his heart. What if something unexpected happens when Lin Feng absorbs the soul ring? Grandpa, Father, Yaner, I have made up my mind. This time I will hunt this soul beast alone. You don't need to help me, don't interfere. I also want to take this opportunity to test my current strength. Lin Feng looked at the fire-winged dragon in the air, his eyes flashing with excitement and expectation. Bang! Just when Lin Feng released his martial spirit. Suddenly, the fire-winged sky dragon fell rapidly from the sky, flapping its wings and kneeling in front of several people. Huh? What's wrong with this fire-winged dragon? Is it frightened by Lin Feng's momentum? Dugu Yan was so surprised that she couldn't close her mouth, her eyes widened, and her face was full of confusion. For a moment, everyone looked at each other, confused, and had no idea what this fire-winged dragon was going to do. Then, the fire-winged sky dragon flapped its wings again, slowly flew into the sky, and made a whirring sound at the same time. The fire-winged dragon is asking us to follow. Lin Feng understood the meaning instantly. He felt that his chance had come again. Then let's follow and take a look. Maybe we can get something big, Lin Yi suddenly realized and couldn't wait to suggest. Then, everyone followed the guidance of the fire-winged sky dragon and came to a mysterious cave. Lin Feng, should we go in? This cave looks gloomy. It won't be dangerous, right? Why do I feel a little panic in my heart? Dugu Yan hugged Lin Feng's arm tightly, her body trembling slightly, and a trace of fear in her eyes, and said timidly, "We have come this far. If we don't go in and take a look, it would be a pity. Besides, aren't Grandpa and my father here? Don't be afraid, Yaner." Lin Feng held Dugu Yan's hand tightly and comforted her quickly. Several people followed the fire-winged dragon through the narrow and dim passage one after another. The passage was filled with a damp smell, which made people feel a little depressed. Finally, they came to a cliff in the cave. Thanks to Wenxinaya, Feng, Dong, Shuanaiwei, and Xingquang Cheng for sending their monthly tickets. Please keep reading, please keep reading. Chapter 57 Soul Beast Sacrifice, Level 52 Soul King. Hoo-hoo, suddenly, another fire-winged dragon cried out, and the sound seemed to carry a trace of pain and anxiety. Lin Feng released his flames alertly to illuminate the entire cliff. A bloody fire-winged dragon appeared in front of everyone. The aura of this fire-winged dragon was obviously much stronger than the one outside. The pressure emanating from it made people feel awed. After investigation, Lin Feng found that this fire-winged dragon was 30,000 years old. Next to it, there were several newly born fire-winged dragons. Oh, it turns out that they are a couple. The one we saw outside is their male dragon, and the injured one in the cave is the female dragon. It seems that this male dragon wants us to save his wife and children. Dugu Yan pointed at the two fire-winged dragons and analyzed bravely. But this female dragon looks too badly injured. Lin Feng, if it dies, won't its children die? For a moment, Dugu Yan looked at the childish appearance of the few little ones and felt a little depressed. Look at the wound. This female dragon was injured by lightning. It should be caused by the battle with the golden-winged thunder eagle. I'm not sure I can cure it. Dugubo walked forward and carefully checked the female dragon's wound. He frowned and said solemnly, "Hoo-hoo." At this time, the male dragon was guarding his partner tightly, calling anxiously to everyone. The call was full of pleading and despair. "Lin Feng, don't you know a lot about medical skills and fairy herbs? Why don't you save them? They are so pitiful. Dugu Yan was also moved by the scene in front of him. He held Lin Feng's hand and begged bitterly. Yaner, the belly of this female dragon was pierced. She can't live. Although Dugu didn't want Yaner's kindness to be let down, he still told her the facts in front of him. Lin Feng looked into the eyes of the male fire-winged dragon and his heart softened. This male dragon is also an outlier among soul beasts. He actually thought of finding humans for help. Fortunately, he met kind people like them. If they met another soul master, they would have killed it and taken its soul ring. The young dragon was sold to the Colosseum, which was another windfall. Since you trust me so much, I will not let you down. Let me do it. Lin Feng's words were firm, attracting the attention of several people. He took out the light blue Ganoderma lucidum from the soul guide, walked forward and carefully let a mother dragon take it. The 1,000-year-old fairy Ganoderma lucidum, the characteristic of this elixir is to stop bleeding and heal wounds, and the effect is equivalent to the treatment of the 9-heart begonia martial spirit. After taking the Ganoderma lucidum, the wound of the fire-winged dragon emitted a faint purple light. The wounded place stopped bleeding at a speed visible to the naked eye. After a while, the mother dragon's breath gradually stabilized. The eyes that were originally closed slowly opened, revealing a trace of vitality and gratitude in the eyes. The fire-winged dragon couldn't help but let out a happy cry when he saw that the mother dragon's injury had improved. From time to time, he gently rubbed the mother dragon's healed wound with his forehead. I didn't expect that there would be such a magical herb in this world. Dugu looked at the changes in the mother dragon and said in amazement. Everyone looked at the fire-winged dragon family who had recovered from their injuries and were closely dependent on each other, and they all felt relieved and smiled with relief on their faces. Fenger, let's go. Go somewhere else to see if there is a soul beast that suits you, Lin Yu said with a smile. Compared to obtaining soul rings, he hoped that Lin Feng would not forget his original intention and his duty and responsibility as a soul master in the process of growing up. Just as several people were about to leave, the male dragon suddenly ran forward and blocked them. It lowered its head and got close to feel Lin Feng's breath, and looked back at its wife and children affectionately. Then, it slowly spread its wings and tightly wrapped Lin Feng in its wings. Hoo-hoo, the mother dragon seemed to realize what her husband was going to do. She shouted anxiously, her voice full of reluctance and worry. It was seen that the whole body of the fire-winged dragon had turned red at this moment, and it was the kind of crystal-clear dark red, like a gem. This fire dragon wants to sacrifice, it wants to exchange its life for its wife's life. Dugu was the first to react, his eyes widened in shock, and he said loudly. When everyone heard this, they were shocked by the male dragon's actions and were speechless, their hearts were full of shock and emotion. Suddenly, the male dragon once again made a sharp and resolute cry, and the cry seemed to tell the female dragon to take good care of the children. Although they are soul beasts, they have purer and deeper emotions than humans, and know how to repay kindness. The female dragon understood what her husband meant, and used her wings to pull the children closer to her, responding to her husband with the same cry. No. Stop it. Lin Feng immediately released all his soul power, trying to push the fire dragon away, his heart full of anxiety and reluctance. But the next second, the fire dragon spread its wings, and golden flames began to burn on its body. Lin Feng knew that it was not a flame, but a special blood flame. What was burning was the blood, life, and 20,000 years of cultivation of the fire-winged dragon. Under the bright light, the blood-red eyes of the fire-winged dragon were full of tenderness and determination, and it only stared at Lin Feng. It lowered its head and gently touched Lin Feng's forehead, telling him not to be sad. Perhaps, this was its destiny. The blood flame burned more and more vigorously with the injection of soul power, gradually turning from red to black. The body of the fire-winged dragon also gradually faded during this transformation. All the black expanded into a huge ring and slowly shrank around Lin Feng. Looking at the thick black brilliance, everyone was stunned, and their hearts could not calm down for a long time. Sometimes the emotions between soul beasts may be purer than those of humans. Boom. After a loud noise, Lin Feng successfully broke through the Soul King by absorbing the soul ring after the sacrifice, and his soul power reached level 52. Ling. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the new purple entry, Jade Tree and Wind, Ling. Congratulations to the host for triggering the soul ring gift bone and obtaining the external soul bone, Fire Wings, Ling. The host refresh entry has been reset. As the light ended, a pair of wings several meters long, burning with blazing flames, grew behind Lin Feng. External soul bone. Fenger's luck is simply amazing. This is a treasure the countless soul masters dream of. Dugu and Lin Yi looked at the changes on Lin Feng's back, and they were so surprised that they couldn't close their mouths, and exclaimed loudly. Only Dugu Yan looked at Lin Feng with a worried look on her face, with mixed feelings in her heart. Lin Feng, he should be very sad. What she thought in her heart was different from Dugu and the others. After the breakthrough, Lin Feng, who should have been happy, now had a solemn face. He put away the fire wings, slowly walked to the mother dragon, and gently stroked its wings. I know you are reluctant to let them go, but this is its choice. It repaid my kindness with its own life. Come with me, I will take you to a safe place. You will live there with your children from now on. I will protect you. Lin Feng's voice was low and firm, and his eyes were a little blurry as he looked at the female dragon, and his eyes were slightly red. He understood that this was the only thing he could do for the male dragon who was sacrificed, and it was also his commitment to this life and death friendship. Father, Grandpa, Yaner, let's take them to the Flame Valley. Lin Feng turned his head suddenly and said to the few people in a firm tone. Flame Valley, a treasure land that Lin Feng discovered by searching for dragons and dividing gold before entering Xiandao Academy. The air contains rich soul power, and the geographical location is very hidden. It is very suitable for fire soul masters and soul beasts to live and practice here. Chapter 58, all updated, 3 new entries. In the evening, Lin Feng and his party arrived at the Flame Valley. After arranging the mother and son of the Fire-Winged Sky Dragon, Lin Yu chose to stay and guard the Fire-Winged Sky Dragon. Although its wounds had healed after taking the elixir, it would take some time for it to fully recover. Lin Yu happened to have nothing to do during this period of time, so he stayed here for a few days to relax. Moreover, the loyalty of the Fire-Winged Dragon and its friendliness to the Soul Master made him very excited, and he had other thoughts in his mind. Although there are not many Soul Masters who tame soul beasts, it is time-consuming and laborious, and it is difficult to guarantee their loyalty. Even if the taming is successful, the soul beast is too weak and it will not play any role. But having a soul beast mount is very cool. His subordinate Jelong has a white tiger mount, which he has envied for a long time. Lin Yi stroked the fire-winged dragon with a close and eager look. With such beautiful wings, if you were his own soul beast, wouldn't he be a dragon knight? It's exciting to think about it. The next day, Xiandao Academy training room. Early in the morning, Yilingling and Dugu Yan came to the training room, eager to see Lin Feng's 5th soul skill. 5th soul skill, Flame Sky Dragon. The shadow of the fire-winged dragon after the sacrifice emerged from the soul ring, flapping its wings and spinning to rush into the sky. When it reached the highest point, it suddenly spread its huge wings and rushed downwards, like a sword piercing the ground. Wow! Lin Feng, your 5th soul skill is so cool. Dugu Yan clapped her hands excitedly. Yilingling looked at Lin Feng and Dugu Yan and was happy for them. She was happy, but she couldn't help feeling a little disappointed. Now one of them is a level 41 Soul Master and the other is a level 52 Soul King. And only he is still at the level of a great Soul Master. Lin Feng noticed Yilingling's expression and took out the fairy grass he had prepared in advance from the stored ring. Lingling, look what I brought you this time. Kilo tulips, can improve your martial soul quality and soul power. Hurry up and absorb it later. Yes, Lingling, Lin Feng and I have improved our soul power so quickly because we absorbed the fairy grass. Dugu Yan smiled and stepped forward to help Lin Feng explain. Ah, Lin Feng, Sister Yaner. Yilingling excitedly took the fairy grass, with a grateful look on her face. The disappointment in her heart was immediately swept away. She could finally catch up with Lin Feng's pace again. Come here after school, I will help you absorb the fairy grass. Yaner and I will go to class first, Lin Feng said. It takes several hours to absorb the fairy grass, and they still have to go to the morning class later. Yet, Yilingling nodded gratefully and hugged the fairy grass tightly. In the classroom, Lin Feng was bored listening to the teacher's spell on the podium and almost fell asleep. No. He couldn't waste his time here. Going to school was useless to him. He didn't know why soul masters had to go to class, and take courses like history and geography. Anyway, Lin Feng was very annoyed. He had an entry system. In addition to refreshing and upgrading entries, he should meet more recognized geniuses and copy their entries. The next second, Lin Feng remembered that he had not refreshed his entries since yesterday. System, replace Yushu Lin Feng with the Son of Destiny. And then refresh the entry. This newly acquired entry was useless. Ding, Congratulations to the host for obtaining the red entry, Son of Destiny. The entry has been refreshed. Finally there was a red entry, and Lin Feng couldn't help but smile. Now that the Son of Destiny was available, the Son of Luck could be replaced. He looked at the 3 entries refreshed by the Son of Luck. Inheritor of the God of Fire, Gold. You have obtained the 9 tests of the God of Fire, and the affinity of the God of Fire has increased by 20%. Natural level 3, Gold. Your soul power will always increase by 3 levels. Fire Dragon King, Gold. Your martial soul is the Fire Dragon King. One of the 9 Dragon Kings. The Fire God is a bit rubbish, only a first level God. With his qualifications, he should at least get a God King inheritance. Starting from the God King, there is no upper limit. I have reached the 3rd level of innate again. This thing is a late stage divine skill. What's the point of brushing it now? Don't choose it. After a brief thought, Lin Feng chose the Fire Dragon King. The Fire Dragon King, the 9 Dragon King level martial souls, is stronger than ordinary God level martial souls. Since the martial soul has been changed, the Emperor Yan 9-headed dragon can be changed. Lin Feng quickly looked at the 3 refreshed purple entries. Only one entry, the gorgeous special effects, attracted Lin Feng's attention. Gorgeous special effects, purple. You can add gorgeous special effects to your actions, but there is no attack power. It is an entertainment entry. Lin Feng decisively chose it and prepared to play for 7 days. As for other entries, the Golden Father of Destiny must also be refreshed. You are the Son of Destiny. Do you still need to take advantage of the child's luck? Holy Radiance. Your soul power carries a bright aura that can restrain evil. Infinite Fusion. You can fuse your martial soul with anyone, including gods. Chaos Summoning. Gold. You can summon a valuable item from any world, and the summoning is completely random. What kind of rubbish is Holy Radiance? I don't even want to look at it. Lin Feng is a little interested in Chaos Summoning. Any world. I don't know what will be summoned. Forget it, just choose this one. Ling. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the strange fire, Kinglian Earth Core Fire. It's actually a strange fire? But why not the void devouring flame, the flame of living beings, or at least the fallen heart flame? Lin Feng smacked his lips. Although the Kinglian Earth Core Fire has a strong attack power, he wants a fire with special abilities. But this is not bad. The Fire Dragon King Martial Soul, the ultimate fire, matches his Kinglian Earth Core Fire. Now his move, I'm afraid even the Soul Saint can't stop it. Lin Feng feels good about himself. The other entries were not changed, so his panel became, Host, Lin Feng, Age 12, Innate Soul Power 20, Martial Soul, Fire Dragon King, God Level, Soul Power, Level 52, Entries, Gorgeous Special Effects, Purple, Natural Flame Crystal, Purple, Soul Ring Bones, Purple, Wandering in the Sky, Purple, Azure Lotus Earth Core Fire, Gold, Permanent Hidden Entries, Innate Level 20, Gold, Entries Copy, Gold, Fire Dragon King, Gold, Child of Destiny, Red. After the Martial Soul became the Fire Dragon King, he also made this entry permanent. Chaos Summoning became Azure Lotus Earth Core Fire. The panel is quite user-friendly. In addition, when saving the Child of Destiny, Lin Feng suddenly became curious about what kind of entry could be called Red, so he took a look. Result, the Great Villain of Destiny, Red. You are the nemesis of the Child of Destiny. Attacking the Child of Destiny can devour the other party's luck. Blank God Position, Red. You have a blank God position, with unlimited growth possibilities. Son of Doom, Red. Every time you arrive in a world, the world will fall into chaos. Good guy. It really looks very red at first glance. The Villain of Destiny, the role opposite to the Son of Destiny, Red is very reasonable. The blank God position has unlimited potential to break through the God King. The Son of Doom directly plunged the world into chaos. If he enters the God realm, wouldn't it cause chaos in the God realm? Compared with this, the blank God position can only be regarded as light red. But he only has one red now, and he can only sigh in despair when facing these entries. Oh, I'm greedy. Can someone give me a red entry to copy? Lin Feng fantasized about such a good thing happening. Chapter 59 Gorgeous Special Effects, Causing Trouble. Lin Feng did not replace the Child of Destiny with the Villain of Destiny. Normally, the villain is destined to be defeated by the protagonist. This is the law of heaven. The protagonist only needs to grow steadily to successfully defeat the villain, but the villain needs to change his fate to defeat the protagonist. The luck of both parties is not equal. The same is true for the terms. The child of destiny only needs to make a choice to be blessed with destiny and enjoy the treatment of the protagonist at any time. However, the villain of destiny needs to attack the child of destiny to devour his luck. You are kidding. Who can play black when they can be white? Lin Feng will never be a villain in his life. Lin Feng, is a great good man. 3 new terms were refreshed this time, and Lin Feng couldn't wait to go to the training ground to see the effect. He did it right away. While the teacher was not paying attention, Lin Feng bent down and quietly slipped out of the back door. Xiandao Academy, training ground number 8. There was only Lin Feng in the empty field. Fire Dragon King, I saw a giant dragon with blazing flames all over its body slowly emerging behind Lin Feng. The dragon scales shone with dazzling luster, and each piece seemed to be condensed from the purest flame. The hot breath rushed towards him, causing the surrounding air to distort. This is the legendary Fire Dragon King martial soul, Lin Feng exclaimed with a trembling voice. This flame is even stronger than the ultimate fire. The ultimate fire is only the ultimate that a lower-level martial soul can reach. It is only a purple entry. This is gold. The Fire Dragon King is a god-level martial soul, and one of the 9 dragon kings with good strength among the god level. It is stronger than many first-level gods. At least he thinks that Jinrixu's angel martial soul should not be as good as his Fire Dragon King martial soul. This momentum, this dragon power, is indeed powerful. I didn't choose you wrong, Fire Dragon King. Lin Feng was very excited and couldn't help but give a thumbs up. Then, he wanted to try other entries. Gorgeous special effects. Different special effects can be presented according to his actions and ideas. He took a deep breath and thought silently in his heart that he was the god of fire who ruled the world, and his whole body was made of flames. He could spit out a fire dragon. It was real. Lin Feng opened his mouth slightly, and a cluster of flames quietly spit out from his mouth. As Lin Feng's mind moved, the flames instantly expanded and turned into a huge dragon of fire, roaring towards the sky. In an instant, the whole sky was dyed red, and the rolling fire clouds were 1,000 meters wide, as if the end of the world was coming. The gorgeous special effects were more shocking than any magic show. Go to this special effect. If I didn't know it was fake, I would have thought it was the real god of fire coming. Then, in his surprised expression, Lin Feng turned into flames and merged into the fire clouds in the sky, looking down like a god. Lonely, powerful, and high above. He snapped his fingers gently. Boom, a loud noise that shook the earth suddenly sounded, and the dragon of fire exploded instantly. Countless pieces of flames flew around like meteors. The light was dazzling. At this time, in the classroom of the academy, the teachers were explaining the knowledge of soul skills vividly. The students in the audience were also listening attentively. Suddenly, a deafening explosion was heard, and the whole teaching building shook violently. Everyone was attracted by the huge sound, stopped what they were doing, and showed a look of horror on their faces. What happened? Did someone invade the academy? A teacher stood up vigilantly and asked loudly. Hearing this, other teachers also released their martial souls, and their soul power surged around them, ready to fight. The students swarmed to the window, wanting to find out what was going on outside. When they saw the flames and explosions all over the sky above the academy training ground, they were all shocked. What's going on? Who has such a powerful force? Everyone talked about it, whispering to each other, with fear and confusion on their faces, and their eyes full of anxiety. Dugu Yan was also startled by this sudden change. She subconsciously looked at Lin Feng's seat. The seat was empty, and there was no trace of Lin Feng. Good fellow, you skip class again. Dugu Yan couldn't help but curse in a low voice, with a hint of helplessness and anger in her tone. Xiandao Academy training ground. Lin Feng noticed the sudden appearance of many soul power fluctuations around him, and instantly realized that the noise he made was too loud. He left the training ground in a flash. Soon, a white-haired old man rushed over, followed by 2 soul fighters. It was Meng Shenji, Bai Baoshan, and Zhi Lin. The 3 major teaching committee members of Xiandao Academy all arrived at the training ground. Just now, that kind of noise, could it be a Titled Douluo? This noise was so loud, but there was no sign of damage at all, which shows that this person has extremely high control over soul power. Its fire attribute again? Could it be the hidden Douluo who took the Yanjing from Sunset Forest? It's possible, but why did he come to our Xiandao Academy? If it was for that 10,000-year soul bone, he should have gone to find poison Douluo. The three of them looked at the sparks still falling in the air and talked a lot. No one could figure out who this person was. But when it comes to soul bones, Zealand couldn't help but turn pale and unhappy. At this time, a group of figures were gathering and silently watching the three people in the training ground. There were students and teachers. They also heard the conversation of the three education committee members. I didn't expect that there was such a person hidden in Xiandao City. This is not an ordinary Titled Douluo. The attack range of 1,000 meters can only be achieved by Titled Douluo above level 96. I just don't know if this person can be used by me. In the crowd, Zhu King frowned and thought to himself. At the same time, I wonder how this special effect has sound. It's a close call. Luckily I ran fast. If I was a second later, I would have been discovered. Lin Feng ran back to the dormitory as if he had done something bad. At that moment, he thought he was the god of fire, but when he turned off the special effects, he was actually still standing on the training ground. He just ran back from the ground, and he was so tired that he took a few breaths. After recovering from his daze, I wonder how the training ground is now, he murmured to himself. Lin Feng sat cross-legged on the bed, closed his eyes, and whispered, wandering in the sky. The next moment, his soul flew out of his head again and ran straight to the training ground. He just saw the scene of martial law on the training ground. Lin Feng leaned forward to listen to the conversation of the onlookers, and laughed in his heart. I didn't expect that the commotion today would make the mysterious fire attribute Titled Douluo more real. But it's good this way, he doesn't have to worry about this matter. I can only say it was a coincidence. Thanks to Jijiao Defangzong, Zai, Shang Herong, Tao, and Shang Xunruishu for sending their monthly tickets. Please read on. Recommended tickets. Chapter 60, Tang San, who loves beauty, fails to kill his father and gets beaten instead. Having nothing to do, Lin Feng decided to go to Holy Spirit Village to see how Tang San was doing. He found a direction and traveled thousands of miles in a flash. He arrived at Holy Spirit Village in a few breaths. As soon as he arrived, "What kind of crappy wine is this? You dare to give it to me? Get me some good wine." He saw Tang Hao's face full of anger, and he slammed the wine glass heavily on the ground and cursed loudly. The wine splashed everywhere, and the sound made Tang San's ears buzz while he was cooking. My family can't even afford to eat, so where can I get the extra money to buy wine? Tang San lowered his head to cook, his eyes gloomy and dissatisfied. At this time, Lin Feng's eyes happened to look at him. Hiss, he was wearing a white cloth shirt on top, his soft hair was combed back, and he used a wreath as a hairpin and wore it on his head. Underneath, it was actually shorts? This is beauty, huh? Lin Feng suddenly thought of something and suddenly realized it. Beauty, not handsomeness. So that's it. Lin Feng couldn't help laughing. Ha ha ha, what a pretty little boy, this dress is really unique, keep it up. Lin Feng couldn't help but brighten his eyes and said with a smile. Fortunately, he is a spirit, and no one else can hear the sound he makes. Tang San added firewood to the stove and cooked rice, while looking up at Tang Hao with resentment. He only knows how to drink every day, and doesn't care about how the family lives. He really doesn't know how expensive firewood, rice, oil and salt are. Did you hear that? Suddenly, Tang Hao yelled at Tang San again in a drunken state. I heard it. Tang San came back to his senses and responded hurriedly. Look at you, you look like a woman, how can you be my child? Hurry up and bring me some wine. Tang Hao didn't seem to give up, looking Tang San up and down, and continued with disgust on his face. Hearing this, Tang San's body suddenly paused, and his heart was in a panic. After all, he was reborn, and the secret must not be discovered. But he knew very well that in this world, the person who was most likely to notice his abnormality was Tang Hao. As soon as this thought flashed through his mind, a crazy idea rang in his mind. Article 23 of the Tang sect rules, anything that is threatening must be eliminated when the opportunity arises. Tang Hao at this moment is the biggest threat to him. Tang San gritted his teeth, and a trace of ferocity flashed across his face. He quietly took out a prepared medicine powder and poured it into the wine pot while Tang Hao was not paying attention. As a disciple of the Tang sect, carrying poison with you is also included in the Tang sect rules. Lin Feng happened to see this scene, and his eyes widened in shock, thinking in his heart. No way, I just didn't come for a day, how come it's like the world has changed? Tang San, a filial son, actually attacked his own father? What happened? Lin Feng had no idea. Tang Hao didn't notice it at all, took the wine pot handed over by Tang San, and drank it up. After a while, he felt dizzy and his steps became staggering. Seeing this, Tang San was overjoyed and silently chanted in his heart, "Fall, fall, fall quickly." Finally, Tang Hao couldn't hold on any longer and fell to the ground with a thump. Tang San hurriedly stepped forward, pretending to be anxious and shaking Tang Hao's body, and kept shouting, "Dad, what's wrong with you?" It seemed to be concerned. In fact, he was checking whether Tang Hao was poisoned. After confirming that Tang Hao's mouth was slightly blue and he couldn't wake up, the anxious look on his face disappeared instantly, replaced by a burst of wanton laughter. "Tang Hao, you always humiliate me on weekdays. Today I will let you taste the taste of being calculated," he laughed and cursed. All of this was seen clearly by Lin Feng in the spirit body. Lin Feng looked at Tang Hao lying motionless on the ground, and couldn't help but be confused, thinking secretly in his heart. Tang Hao died? He is a titled Douluo. Can Tang San's poison really work on him? At this time, Tang San was still immersed in the pleasure of revenge. Thinking of Tang Hao's previous comments on his dress, the anger in his heart was ignited again. "You said I dress like a sissy? If you don't understand, don't comment. Do you know what is called charm?" he shouted at Tang Hao on the ground. Even as he said that, Tang San still felt unsatisfied. He raised his hand and slapped Tang Hao hard with a slap. Unexpectedly, after the slap, Tang Hao's eyelids actually moved and slowly opened his eyes. In an instant, the air in the room solidified instantly. Tang San and Tang Hao looked at each other, staring at each other. "Did you slap me just now?" Tang Hao's voice was a little hoarse as he just woke up, questioning. No, father, you are confused because of drinking, right?" Tang San's heart stopped, his face turned pale and red, and he stammered back. "Bastard, dare you lie to me?" Tang Hao's eyes widened in anger and roared. He stood up suddenly, picked up the whip beside him, and sprayed some wine on it as disinfectant. Then he swung the whip and whipped Tang San again. Lin Feng watched this chaotic and exciting scene from the side, and was so shocked that he couldn't close his mouth. He muttered to himself, "What is going on? It's too exciting." Pa pa pa. The whip was swung in Tang Hao's hand and fell down, hitting Tang San's back. Ouch! Ah! Tang San trembled in pain and almost fell down. Lin Feng then noticed that Tang San's old injuries were caused by Tang Hao. At this moment, Tang San's heart was full of hatred. Every time he was whipped, his resentment towards Tang Hao deepened. Today's humiliation will be returned 1,000 times in the future. Tang San gritted his teeth, clenched his fists tightly, and his knuckles turned white. He swore in his heart. I don't know how long the beating lasted. Tang Hao threw down his whip panting, carrying the jar of wine, and staggered back to the house to sleep. It was as if he had never woken up from the alcohol. Seeing Tang Hao leave, Tang San endured the severe pain in his back and dragged his heavy steps to the edge of the yard. He slowly unbuttoned his shirt, revealing his scarred back. The torn flesh was bloody, and the flesh at the wound was rolled up, which was shocking. Tang San trembled with his hands, picked up the ointment made of herbs, and gently applied it to the wound. Every touch was like countless needles piercing deeply into the skin, and the pain made his body twitch. But he didn't care about these, and there was only one thought in his mind: why didn't the poison he carefully prepared work? His eyes were full of unwillingness and doubts, and he repeatedly recalled every detail of his poison making. At this time, Lin Feng recalled the scene of Tang San's unsuccessful attempt to kill his father just now, and looked at Tang San and smacked his lips repeatedly. What a filial son. It really opened his eyes. Now Lin Feng wanted to deliver the poison to Tang San to see if he could really kill his father. Unfortunately, he was only a spirit now. Although he could see through everything in the world, he could not touch any entity. He could not even complete the simplest action of delivering the poison. He could only hold back his thoughts. Last time, he only changed one entry for Tang San. This time, he refreshed all the other entries to try. System, refresh Tang San's entry. Chapter 61, refresh Tang San's entry, the destined villain. Ling. Tang San's, way to die, entry has been refreshed. Please choose one of the 3 entries below or keep it. Douluo, please stay. Purple, when you say Douluo, please stay to others. Those who stop will be more susceptible to your bewitching. Baby, please turn around. Purple, when you shout baby, please turn around while attacking. There is a chance to kill them with one strike. The higher the soul power, the lower the probability. You have a destiny with the West. Purple, When you say you have a destiny with the West to others, the other party's favorability towards Buddhism increases tenfold, and at least becomes a shallow Buddhist believer. Why are these the three famous sayings of the conferred god? Lin Feng couldn't help but complain in his heart. Dao Iao's sentences from Shen Guangbao. Every time he calls someone, bad things will happen to that person. Baby, please turn around, there is a chance to kill them with one strike. Even if the probability is low, it is very amazing. Is this purple? I'm afraid it's not gold. No? System, your entry is too good. Is it because of the destiny child? Lin Feng looked a little jealous. Why wasn't the purple one he refreshed like this? No, I have to change his son of destiny first. Lin Feng smiled slightly, thinking secretly in his heart. As for the entry of the West, it's normal. But persuading people to become Buddhists, what's the use of this? Rubbish. Change it to the West, it must be changed. System, change the entry of Tang San's way of death to the entry of you are destined to be with the West. Lin Feng saw the entry of please turn around for the purple treasure in front of him, and his eyes didn't want to stay for a moment. Because of the son of destiny, right? Then I will change your son of destiny first. Ding, Tang San's, son of destiny, entry has been refreshed, please choose one of the three entries below or keep it. Ticket to another world, red, you can travel to another world and cannot come back. Intertemporal portal, red, you can build a portal connecting two worlds at two different times and places. Two parallel worlds will be automatically generated at different times in the same world. Destiny villain, red, you are the nemesis of the son of destiny. Attacking the son of destiny can devour the other party's luck as expected of red, it is as good as ever. No, this is his entry, why should I be happy? Lin Feng was speechless about his habitual behavior for a while. Tickets to other worlds? Doesn't it mean that you can go to other worlds in the future? But that's something for the finale, and I won't even look at it now. Next, across time and space portal. Generating parallel worlds is not bad, but if there are tickets to other worlds, you can connect the two worlds. This is better. System, Tang San's son of destiny will immediately change the destiny villain. Lin Feng knew about the destiny villain, and he refreshed it himself yesterday. So, Lin Feng chose this for Tang San without hesitation. Ling. Replacement successful, that's right. Hearing the prompt sound of the system's success, Lin Feng nodded with satisfaction. Otherwise, if there are two sons of destiny on the mainland in the future, what will it look like? The fate villain devours the fate by attacking the son of fate. If he wants to attack Lin Feng, then let him do it. Lin Feng wants to see who attacks whom. Tang San's life haha. After the replacement is completed, Lin Feng looked at the last few remaining entries again and chose to keep them one by one. Don't change them all. If Tang San doesn't practice the twin martial spirits in the early stage, it is useless, and the same is true for the future God King. Even if the Tang Sec traitor is removed, Tang San's memory will not change, and the knowledge in his mind will not be reduced. At most, he will not have the talent to make hidden weapons. Keep it. There is no refresh to replace the outstanding talent, so it can only be kept. Now, Tang San's panel entries have become, entries, love beauty, white, you are more destined to the West, purple, Tang Sec traitor, purple, outstanding talent, purple, and 3 almost nothing, twin martial spirits, gold, child god king, red, fate villain, red. After the replacement, Lin Feng looked at Tang San who was still applying medicine, turned around and flew into the sky. Tang San grinned hoarsely in pain. Suddenly, he somehow recalled the Buddha cutting his flesh to feed the eagle. Facing such pain, he was calm. Looking at himself again, this little suffering is nothing. Life is really bitter. Birth, aging, sickness, death, love and separation, long-lasting resentment, failure to obtain, and inability to let go. I have endured all 8 sufferings, so why should I be afraid of this mere whip? So Tang San gritted his teeth and endured the pain. In the corner of the courtyard, blood flowed all over the ground. After Lin Feng left, he casually floated his soul around the continent. From time to time, he went to the Flame Valley to see the recent situation of his father and the Fire-Winged Sky Dragon, and from time to time went to several markets in Xiandao City to stroll around. But wherever Lin Feng's soul passed, he could almost hear more or less a few people talking about the appearance of the fire, a tribute titled Douluo, in Xiandao City. Lin Feng had an idea in his mind. Since the matter of the fire attribute titled Douluo has spread, and it is becoming more and more organized, It would be better to establish this fictitious identity, and then walk around as the sole image of a fire attribute titled Douluo. This may be quite effective in hiding oneself and diverting other people's attention. As for how to maximize the spread effect, Lin Feng suddenly thought of a place. 1,000 miles in an instant. A black fortress with a main building made of huge black rocks appeared in front of him. At the main entrance of the building, 2 heavy iron doors were 10 feet high, with exquisite martial arts patterns carved on them. And this place is the Wuhan Hall standing in the center of Douluo Continent. If we can use gorgeous special effects to create a little movement here, wouldn't the effect be? Lin Feng stepped on the void, with a bit of expectation on his face. Wuhan Hall meeting room. An old man with gray hair and a sturdy body pushed open the door and walked straight in. See Elder Gu Yan Elder Ju, you arranged to find the fire attribute titled Douluo before, but you didn't find any information, and all the Soul Douluos suspected of breaking through have been ruled out of suspicion, Bishop Melis of the Wuhan Hall said with a bow. Oh, so there is no such person? Is he hiding well, or is someone deceiving our spirit hall? Who do you think it is, Melis? Yu Guan in front of him blew the petals in his hand gently, looking at him with a playful look. For a moment, Bishop Melis felt a chill on his back, trembling, not knowing how to answer. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62, BB Dong's Entry, AI Gang, wish everyone a happy Lantern Festival. A light laugh, with a hint of amusement, rang out in the silent hall. Mulus, I didn't say it was you, why are you so nervous? Yu Guan deliberately dragged out his voice, like an invisible thread, entangled with Mulus's nerves. I don't think you have the courage. As soon as the voice fell, Yu Guan appeared behind Mulus like a ghost. The cold voice made Mulus shudder. I dare not deceive the 2 elders. Mulus suppressed his inner panic, and still maintained a respectful expression on his face, but his voice trembled slightly. Old ghost. Yu Guan suddenly put away his teasing expression, frowned slightly, and his eyes were full of doubts. Why did this hall suddenly become so hot? As he spoke, he slowly turned his body, his eyes wandered around, trying to find the source of this abnormal heat. I don't know, Gui Mei still said with a sullen face. But the slightly frowned brows showed that he was not calm inside. The sun, a huge sun has appeared in front of the spirit hall. A terrified cry outside the meeting room instantly broke the tense atmosphere. Is the end of the world coming? Then, there was another panic shout. This sudden commotion instantly attracted the attention of the 2. Ju Gui and the other man turned pale in an instant. After looking at each other, they rushed out without hesitation. Only Melis was left standing there, his legs trembling slightly, and his face was full of fear. The gate of the spirit hall. In the sky, a huge red fireball covered the sky and the sun, as if the whole world was covered by this blazing flame. The fireball was dazzling and frightening, as if the end of the world was coming. Moreover, the red fireball was slowly approaching the magnificent building of the spirit hall at a speed visible to the naked eye. The temperature on the ground rose a few degrees with every step closer. What's going on? I don't know. Just now, a scene like this suddenly appeared in the sky. It's so hot. I can't even breathe. Everyone looked up, their faces full of shock and fear, talking at once, their voices full of panic and anxiety. What are you still standing there for? BB Dong's voice was like a huge bell, with an innate majesty, instantly overwhelming the noise of the crowd. Prepare to resist. As she spoke, she flew out of the hall with several elders. Her movements were crisp and clear, showing the style of a strong man. In the sky, Lin Feng was surprised to see BB Dong's figure. Presumably, the entry of the spirit hall Pope BB Dong would not be bad, so he had to see if there was anything he could copy. System, check the entry. BB Dong, age 41 years old, innate soul power 10, martial soul, twin martial soul, death spider emperor, top, soul devouring spider emperor, top, soul power, level 96, entries, AI gang, white, outstanding talent, purple, avenger, purple, twin martial soul, gold, villain boss, gold, Rakshasa god inheritor, gold, hiss, 41 years old and level 96, much more awesome than Tang Hao. In the original work, Bibi Dong became a level 99 Peerless Douluo very early, but she couldn't exert her full strength because of the restrictions of the Rakshasa God test. Lin Feng speculated before. Bibi Dong is very likely to have broken through to the Titled Douluo when she killed Kaiang Sunji and absorbed his soul power. I didn't expect that she is already level 96 now. No wonder she can easily hunt down Xiao Wu's mother a year later. It's this entry, AI Gang, White, you just like use AI Gang, no matter what. Bibi Dong is really a love-brained person. This White personality entry is the same as the soul power entry. Everyone can only have one. She is not cruel or anything like that. But she loves Gang. It is enough to show that in her eyes, use AI Gang is so important that it is unimaginable. No, people who are in love are too scary. System, refresh her love entry. Lin Feng rubbed his hands and said, silently hoping that something interesting could be refreshed. Ling. The love entry has been refreshed. Please choose one of the following 3 entries or keep it, my own way. White, you have your own opinions on everything you do. Rebellious heart. White, you have a strong personality and will not give in easily. Hate Gang. White, you hate use AI Gang, no matter what. It turns out to hate Gang. The first 2 refreshed entries are normal. But this third one, I really like it. Lin Feng couldn't help laughing in his heart. If this is selected, what kind of bloody plot will she and Yu Xia Gang have? System, replace love with hate. Ling. The entry has been replaced successfully. Lin Feng looked at the updated white entry with satisfaction. He felt that his luck was getting better and better, and now even the refreshed entries were more and more in line with his wishes. With his current upgrade probability, it should be basically successful to upgrade from white to green in one try. But now, none of the 3 white entries of Tang Hao, Tang San and Bibi Dong that were refreshed have been upgraded to green. System, you have performed well recently. Thinking of this, Lin Feng couldn't help but give the system a thumbs up with one hand. Then he looked down. Avenger, purple, you are full of malice towards the world and want revenge on the world. Needless to say, this must be the shadow left in her heart by the incident with Kaiang Sunji when she was young. But I have to mention that this kind of man who only satisfies his lower body is really a piece of shit. Villain boss, gold, destined to be the enemy of the son of destiny, immune to destiny, immune to destiny. He knew that Dugu Yan had this entry before, and would not be affected by the mouth-to-mouth of the son of destiny. This is useless to him. Finally, Lin Feng looked at the remaining 2 golden ones. He didn't want the Rakshasa God inheritance. Then he would reluctantly copy the twin martial souls. Ling. The twin martial soul terms have been copied. Lin Feng hadn't decided which one to replace, so he could only save it first. And after such a long time, his figure was finally discovered. No, there is a figure under the fireball. Is this actually artificially created? Could it be the fire-type Titled Douluo that Zhu Jiyui and the others mentioned? Everyone's eyes looked down the fireball. After seeing the figure clearly, they couldn't help but take a breath, their hearts filled with shock and confusion. The man was dressed in a black robe, with a slender body, and a delicate face with a warm smile, which made him look particularly handsome. This is certainly not him. This is a special effect he made based on Xiao Yan from another world. Who is this person who dares to be so bold as to openly appear in the sky above the spirit hall? It seems that his strength is far superior to ours. Several elders looked at the figure transformed by Lin Feng in the sky, secretly shocked in their hearts, and their expressions became solemn. They knew very well that the person who could create such a terrifying scene was definitely not an ordinary person. Thanks to Xian and Eat the Little Bear DC for sending the monthly ticket. Chapter 63. Do you really want to fight with me, Xiao Yan? As the fireball got closer, the temperature in the air got higher and higher. Bibi Dong finally couldn't hold back her hot mood and immediately gave the order. Soul Masters of the Spirit Hall, listen up, attack with all your strength, we must not let this fireball fall. As she finished speaking, several elders took the lead in using their spirit bodies. Powerful soul power fluctuations surged towards the fireball in the sky. Their attacks were accompanied by the sound of breaking wind, and the power was amazing. However, when these attacks hit the fireball, only a few loud boom 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 sounds were heard, followed by a dead silence. Our attacks were actually ineffective. This person's soul power level is so terrible that it's probably not a title, but the level of a Peerless Douluo. Peerless Douluo? I haven't heard of a new Peerless Douluo on the mainland. Several people looked at Lin Feng in shock, their faces full of disbelief. Their attacks were like a stone sinking into the sea, only stirring up layers of ripples on the fireball, and could not cause any substantial damage to it. Oh no, is this guy crazy? The fireball was still falling steadily under Lin Feng's control. The people on the ground only felt more and more thirsty, and breathing became more and more difficult. Yu Guan panted and cursed. It was unbearably hot just in the sky. If this fireball really fell, the consequences would be disastrous. Bibi Dong's heart trembled when she heard the conversation of several people. A peerless Douluo came to the spirit hall? That's great. This way, the old guy can be forced out. She was very curious about how strong the old guy was. Bibi Dong couldn't help but look in the direction of the worship hall, where there was silence. What disappointed her was that even after waiting for so long, the other party still had no intention of taking action. Above the sky, Lin Feng himself didn't expect this special effect to be so realistic, not only with sound, but also with temperature changes. However, he knew in his heart that these effects were just a touch and could only be used as special effects. The thirsty heat that everyone below could feel was already the limit of his special effects. If he fell even a little bit further, he would be exposed. The same goes for the sound. He could only make roars, sword sounds, Buddhist sounds, demon sounds, etc. If he wanted to use ultrasonic waves to attack the enemy, he couldn't do it. This senior, I don't know how our Wuhan Hall offended you, seeing that the strong attack was ineffective. Zhu Douluo tried to negotiate with Lin Feng in the sky. His voice remained calm, and the Wuhan Hall's tyrannical strength gave him unparalleled peace of mind. Wuhan Hall is not without peerless Douluos. Lin Feng's transformed figure smiled faintly, and the result he wanted was achieved. A hollow and loud voice suddenly spread from the figure. I am Dugu Yan. I heard that you came to me and wanted to fight with me, Dugu Yan, haha, do you have the strength? If there are any more people who investigate the fire element titled Douluo, they will be killed without mercy. Lin Feng's words were strong and powerful, as if they were carrying endless majesty, which made people shudder. Everyone on the ground listened to the voice echoing in their ears and was terrified. This voice was like the scythe of the god of death waving overhead. But at the same time, people also had hope of living. Because this was just a warning. The scene was silent. The people in Wuhan City waited for the Wuhan Hall to respond, and everyone in the Wuhan Hall looked at the Pope. Bibi Dong remained silent. After waiting for a while, okay, I agree, Bibi Dong immediately accepted Lin Feng's request. Her face was expressionless, and she even felt a little sorry that she didn't see the old guy take action. In the air, the fireball that Lin Feng transformed into suddenly dissipated. And he also disappeared without a trace at the moment the fireball dissipated, as if he had never appeared. Wait for Lin Feng to leave? Who is he, and why does he have such a powerful force? I didn't expect that he would dare to provoke Wuhan Hall just because of such a small matter. It's really too arrogant. This person is very powerful and is definitely not an easy person to deal with. Several elders looked at the place where the fireball dissipated with worry, and began to speculate about Lin Feng's identity. On the ground, the soul masters who survived the catastrophe also cheered and rejoiced, feeling lucky that they had saved their lives. You too, pass the order down. The spirit hall is not allowed to find out about this person anymore, Bibi Dong ordered coldly. Then, Bibi Dong turned and flew into the hall, and casually ordered Zhu Jiui and the others. As if what happened just now had not happened. Since Jin Daoliu didn't care, why should she care? Anyway, it was the spirit hall's reputation that was humiliated, and she couldn't wait to be happy. At this point, Bibi Dong's eyes were cold. Jin family, he. Worship hall. Humph. How can this Pope be so weak? How can people outside see our spirit hall in the future? Golden Crocodile Douluo complained to Jin Daoliu with an indignant look on his face. Jin Daoliu didn't say anything, but just glanced at him lightly. Golden Crocodile Douluo immediately understood and shut up. It's just a small matter, let her go. Now, Jin Daoliu only cares about his granddaughter. He only wanted Jin Ringsu to inherit the throne and become the eternal faith of their spirit hall, the angel god. As for the peerless Douluo of the fire element, he thought he was at most level 98. If it was just an attack that covered the sky and the sun, the golden crocodile could do it. The gap between level 98 and level 99 is not so easy to cross. Jin Daoliu sighed and turned to leave here. At this moment, Xiandao Academy. After Lin Feng left the spirit hall, it took him a few seconds to return to the dormitory. As soon as his soul returned to his body, he heard a dong-dong knock on the door. Lin Feng, are you there? Dugu Yan's anxious voice came from outside the door. What's wrong? Lin Feng hurriedly got off the bed and opened the door. Huh? Lingling is here too. Why did you bring Lingling to our boys' dormitory? After being asked by Lin Feng. Dugu Yan, who was used to it, didn't think there was anything wrong and walked straight into Lin Feng's room. Yi Lingling outside the door looked at Lin Feng with a shy face. It was her first time here. What are you standing there for? Come in. Lin Feng took Yi Lingling's hand and pulled her in. What else can I do? I was in class just now and I saw you disappear. Is it not okay to worry about you? Dugu Yan turned around with a playful look on her face. Worried about me? Lin Feng pointed at his nose, looking puzzled. Yes. Didn't you see the big commotion in the training ground just now? It was just like a fireworks show at the end of the world, and everyone is talking about it. It was done by the fire-attributed Titled Douluo who took the Yanjing from Sunset Forest before, but isn't this Yanjing in our hands? Is there really a Titled Douluo with fire attributes on the mainland? Dugu Yan looked at Lin Feng's puzzled expression and excitedly told him what she saw and heard today. I was just practicing. I didn't notice. I don't know about the fire attribute Titled Douluo. Maybe there really is such a powerful hermit who happens to be a fire attribute. Lin Feng touched his nose, not daring to look into Dugu Yan's eyes, and casually evaded her words. No one would believe that there is no fire attribute Titled Douluo now. Because the person she guessed just caused a scene in the spirit hall. That's right, it can only be like this. Dugu Yan listened to the explanation, and after some thought, she looked at Lin Feng again with a natural expression. Since there is nothing else to do now, Sister Linger, take the fairy grass that Lin Feng gave you today. Then, Dugu Yan turned around and said happily while holding Yi Lingling's hand. Chapter 64 Taking the Immortal Grass, Nine-Hearted Holy Begonia. Okay, Sister Yaner, Yi Lingling said with a smile on her face. She slowly took out a Douluo tulip from her arms and placed it in front of her. The rich fragrance of the Douluo tulip instantly filled the whole room. Its roots, stems and leaves were covered with vines and vines, giving people a sense of grandeur. Following Lin Feng's guidance, Yi Lingling slowly extracted the essence from the stamens and took it into her body. A medicinal power that soaked the heart and spleen began to flow through Yi Lingling's body. The nine-hearted begonia martial spirit appeared, floating around Yi Lingling with a dazzling luster. Gradually, the nine-hearted begonia and Yi Lingling's body were all shrouded in golden light. The essence of heaven and earth in the air slowly turned into light spots and condensed on Yi Lingling. Yaner, go to the door and help Lingling and me guard it. I'll also take this opportunity to condense my soul power, Lin Feng said in a gentle tone. Dugu Yan responded repeatedly. Having said that, Lin Feng wanted to use this opportunity to replace the twin martial souls that he had just copied. After so many days, he had already understood the rules of the operation of the Yanjing in his body. After Dugu Yan walked to the door, Lin Feng sat cross-legged beside Yi Lingling. It was time to completely condense the Yanjing into his own soul power. As Lin Feng circulated his soul power, he felt the Yanjing in his body emitting red light and vibrating continuously under the action of his soul power. Through the soul core he had learned before, Lin Feng immediately injected his soul power into the Yanjing in his body. With a bang, the Yanjing suddenly shattered in Lin Feng's body, and the energy contained in it suddenly burst out. It began to spread to his limbs along Lin Feng's meridians. Lin Feng only felt that the blood vessels around him began to swell again, and there were signs of rupture at any time. Without waiting for more thoughts, Lin Feng quickly circulated his soul power again, and gathered the energy emitted in his body to the Danshan again. The Fire Dragon King's martial spirit was immediately activated, and a giant dragon phantom with a burning flame appeared behind Lin Feng again. The extreme flame plus the powerful dragon soul power, the energy gathered in the surrounding meridian seemed to be suppressed. Unconsciously, it began to follow the guidance of Lin Feng's soul power to flow to the Danshan. Dugu Yan looked at the flickering flames around Lin Feng, and was also worried. His eyes stayed on Lin Feng, and he didn't look elsewhere. Half a while passed, and Lin Feng's soul core condensed and Yi Lingling absorbed the fairy grass one after another. When the two just opened their eyes. Lin Feng, did you have a problem with condensing your soul power just now? Why is your breath still so chaotic now? Dugu Yan seemed to find that the breath in Lin Feng's body was fluctuating again, and asked worriedly. It's okay. It may be because I just condensed the soul core. My body is still adapting. By the way, Lingling, how do you feel after absorbing the Douluo tulip? Lin Feng pinched Dugu Yan's face with one hand, turned around and asked Yi Lingling. After Lin Feng condensed the soul core, although he could still burst out with the full force of the 89th level soul Douluo. However, he lost the solid defense and fire attribute of the physical Yanjing, and his own physical fitness also declined slightly. This is why the breath is unstable. Lin Feng chose not to say it in order not to worry Dugu Yan. Thank you, Lin Feng. After I absorbed it, my martial soul evolved into the nine-hearted holy begonia. Now the attribute bonuses of various soul skills have been improved a lot. The soul power has also broken through level 30, but I haven't absorbed the soul ring yet, so I don't know how much it has improved. Yi Lingling shared the joy with the two of them with a happy face, and her shy look could still be seen under her slightly raised eyebrows. Okay, Sister Linger, then you can also join our Shiandao class. Dugu Yan excitedly walked over and took her hand and said. Chapter 65, Change of Entry, Twin Martial Spirits. By the way, Lin Feng, what do you mean by condensing the soul core? Dugu Yan seemed to have just remembered what Lin Feng had just said and asked in confusion. Soul core. The soul core is the soul power compressed from liquid to solid, which will be immersed in the soul master's Danshin. The soul core will absorb external soul power through the soul master during its continuous rotation and supply it to the soul master. Both the combat power and the recovery ability are much stronger than before. Lin Feng tried hard to collect knowledge from his mind and replied. Wow. So amazing, can I condense it? Dugu Yan looked at Lin Feng with admiration. Her man had invented something new again. Even Yi Lingling, who always looked shy, seemed to have changed her face at this moment, looking at Lin Feng with a spirited look. This is generally only for Titled Douluo, okay? Dugu Yan was instantly deflated when she heard Lin Feng's answer. If this was the case, the gap between her and Lin Feng would widen again. But it doesn't matter, you can give this method to Grandpa Du. Lin Feng looked at Dugu Yan's drooping head and hurriedly went up to coax her. Okay, thank you, Lin Feng, then it's okay, you can go back to class first, I'll condense my soul core again and come to find you later. Lin Feng wanted to let them go first, and hurriedly urged them. He didn't want them to know that he had obtained twin martial spirits for the time being. He would change the entries after they left. Okay, the two answered in unison. After Dugu Yan and Yi Lingling left. System, replace the twin martial spirits with a natural flame crystal, Ling. Replacement successful. As the system's voice sounded, Lin Feng instantly felt a familiar soul power surge into his heart. Second martial spirit possessed, the three-headed flaming sun snake. A three-headed snake with red and flaming light appeared behind Lin Feng again. But this time, compared to when he just awakened at the age of 5, he had the blessing of his own Soul King's soul power. The flames were stronger, and the shadows were bigger and more solid. Looking at the familiar figure, Lin Feng smiled and couldn't help but sigh. Now he was also the third person on the continent to have twin martial spirits. Lin Feng tried to switch back and forth between the three-headed scorpion and the Fire Dragon King martial spirit. Martial spirit possessed, the Fire Dragon King, as Lin Feng's mind moved. A Fire Dragon King instantly attached to Lin Feng, and the dragon horns of the Fire Dragon King even reached as high as the ceiling. Lin Feng opened his arms, and two dragon claws appeared between his palms. Martial spirit possessed, the three-headed scorpion. As soon as the voice fell, Lin Feng changed instantly, becoming 3 snake heads plus a thick and long tail, and it looked like a three-headed scorpion more than 2 meters tall. The snake body swayed back and forth with his soul power in Lin Feng's palms. In this way, 1 dragon and 1 snake were almost seamlessly switched under Lin Feng's control. As expected, the twin martial spirits not only copied VB Dong's ability to have 2 martial spirits at the same time. Moreover, the seamless switching between the martial souls and the extremely high degree of fusion between the 2 martial souls were also copied. If it was Tang San who copied it before, this effect would not have occurred. Tang San's twin martial souls can only release 1 martial soul after putting it away first. Moreover, he relied on the soul bone in the early stage, and finally solved the risk of mutual repulsion between the 2 martial souls through the light of the sea god. Thinking of this, Lin Feng nodded with satisfaction, put away the martial soul and sat on the bed, holding his breath and concentrating to stabilize the soul core that had just formed. On the other side, the news that the fire-type Titled Douluo appeared in the Wuhan Hall quickly spread throughout the continent. The meeting hall of the 7 treasures glazed sect Uncle Jian, the servants came to report today. The fire-type Titled Douluo appeared in the Wuhan Hall. The fireball condensed above the Wuhan Hall is said to cover the sky and the sun, and it is as if the doomsday is coming. Uncle Jian, can you do this? Ning Fengzi frowned, feeling deeply moved by what he heard today. No. Sect Master, don't worry too much. Titled Douluo with their strength is estimated to have reached the level of Kyandaoli Upirless Douluo. If there is no special situation, they will not interfere in the affairs of the continent. Jian Douluo frowned, but still signaled Ning Fengzi, who is on edge, to relax. Uncle Jian, the Spirit Hall has now ordered its subordinate forces and various branch halls to prohibit tracking down the news of this Titled Douluo. Is there any hidden reason in this? The people of the Spirit Hall want to take this opportunity to appease this fire element Titled Douluo. Do you think we have a chance to secretly investigate this matter and strike first? Ning Fengzi said with a burning look. Just as the two were still chatting, Grandpa Jian, a beautiful girl with a pure and lovely appearance, walked in. Grandpa Jian, can you play with me? I've been looking for you for a long time. Oh. It turns out to be my little princess Rongrong, of course. Jian Douluo hugged Ning Rongrong in his arms, looked at her with a smile, and was about to leave. Chapter 66 Sword Douluo, I am not as good as him. Fengzi, this matter must not be mentioned again. Today, that person has already stated his intentions in the sky above the Spirit Hall, which proves that he does not want to participate in the struggles of the secular world. Don't let this backfire. When Jian Douluo walked to the door, he suddenly turned back and said to Ning Fengzi earnestly, the sect master is still a little too hasty about everything now. I know, Uncle Jian. Ning Fengzi behind him sighed, and also realized how unrealistic his thoughts were just now, and nodded. The treasure land discovered by Lin Feng, the Flame Valley. This place has been emitting eternal fire from the ground for many years, and the breath of fire elements is rich, which is very suitable for fire attribute soul masters to practice. According to the theory of simulated practice environment, the fire attribute soul masters who practice here will practice at least 10% or 20% faster. At this time, it has become the secret base of the Lin family. Report, Patriarch. Today, a fire attribute titled Douluo appeared in the Spirit Hall. Now this matter has spread all over the mainland. A subordinate hurriedly came to report the latest news on the mainland to Lin Yi. Is there really a fire Douluo on this continent? Are you sure this news is true, Patriarch? This is absolutely true. Lin Yi's eyebrows were low, and he couldn't help shuddering in his heart. Could it be that the incident in Sunset Forest last time was discovered? Last time, he and Xia Feng worked together to take down the Yanjing, and the people in the Spirit Hall mistakenly thought that it was done by the fire Douluo. Now this matter has been heard by the real fire Douluo. If this person really wants to investigate this matter, not good. Xia Feng is in danger. You, go to Xiandao Royal Academy immediately and tell the young master and Dugu Yan about this, Lin Yi said sharply and anxiously. Yes, Patriarch. After receiving the order, the subordinate turned around and left. No, just in case, it is better to inform Senior Dugu first, make preparations in advance, and then discuss countermeasures. Then, Lin Yi released his soul power with all his strength and rushed to where Dugu Bo lived. Blazing Academy. If that's the case, then it's not unfair that we lost in Sunset Forest. Ho Long, who had just recovered from his injuries, was in a good mood after hearing this. The Pope personally ordered not to provoke him, which shows that this hidden fire element titled Douluo is extremely powerful. He accepted that the flame crystal of the Flame Beast King was taken away by such a person. He accepted it happily. It's a pity that I can't meet the senior in person. If I can ask for your advice, I might be able to break through the level that has been stuck for 10 years. Ho Long looked regretful. However, he did gain something this time. Although he didn't get the flame crystal and soul bone. But the 1 million gold soul coins promised by the Xiandao Academy at the beginning must be paid at least 200,000 or 300,000. Come on, go and urge Xiandao Academy. What time is it now? Ask them when to deliver the 1 million gold soul coins promised at the beginning. Fire Leopard sect. The seriously injured Fire Leopard was lying on the bed. After hearing about the appearance of the titled Douluo in the Spirit Hall, he was very angry. Not only did we get nothing from Sunset Forest this time, we also lost several soul saints. It seems that our Fire Leopard sect needs to rest for a while and replenish some fresh blood. Come here, give the order. The Fire Leopard sect will close its doors to visitors from today, and all inner disciples are not allowed to go out. Just then, report to the sect master, Ju Douluo and Ghost Douluo from the Spirit Hall are here. What does the spirit hall want us for? The sect master's doubts will be answered by someone. However, since today, there have been more people from the spirit hall coming in and out of the fire leopard sect. Chapter 67 Yi Langlang joins the team, level 35 Soul Master. Apology post. Yesterday's chapter has been changed and deleted, and the new chapter does not affect continued reading. Xiandao College. The sun shines through the mottled leaves and falls on the desks in the classroom. Lin Feng, Dugu Yan, your grandpa is here. Qin Ming's voice broke the silence of the classroom. He stood at the door and shouted to the two people who were in class. Behind him, Dugu Bo, with black hair, smiled at Dugu Yan and Lin Feng. Grandpa, why are you here? Dugu Yan's eyes lit up instantly when he saw Dugu Bo's figure. He rushed forward happily and hugged him tightly. Lin Feng followed quietly behind with a gentle smile on his face. Looking at the intimacy between the grandfather and grandson, a warm feeling surged in his heart. Ha ha ha, Dugu Bo laughed heartily, reached out and touched Dugu Yan's forehead lovingly, and said, Grandpa, I missed you, so I came to see you. Teacher Qin, Zia Feng and Yanner and I have something to talk about. Okay, please. Dugu Bo and the two walked aside, his expression gradually becoming solemn. Zia Feng, Yanner, have you heard about the appearance of a fire-type titled Douluo in the Spirit Hall? He looked at Lin Feng and Dugu Yan and said slowly. Spirit Hall? No. The two shook their heads almost at the same time, and Lin Feng's eyes flickered. Dugu Yan blinked and said excitedly, but, Grandpa, a fire-type titled Douluo also appeared in our academy these 2 days. Then, she vividly described to Dugu Bo the scene she saw at the training ground that day. What? Yanner? Zia Feng, are you two okay? Dugu Bo heard this, his pupils suddenly shrank, his body trembled violently, and his face was full of shock and worry. Oh. Grandpa, what could have happened to the two of us? That day, the fire Douluo just set off a fireworks show in the sky and left. Lin Feng and I were both in his dormitory. That's good, that's good. Dugu Bo's frown finally relaxed slightly and he breathed a sigh of relief. He thought to himself. If it is true as the Lin family said, that peerless Douluo is investigating the matter of the Sunset Forest Yanjing. With his own strength, I am afraid that he can't save Yanner and others even if he risks his life. Now that the fire Douluo has only appeared in Xiandao Academy, he must not know who got the Yanjing. Grandpa Du, what are you thinking about? Lin Feng, who was standing aside, looked at Dugu Bo's serious expression and asked in confusion. Oh, nothing. Dugu Bo came back to his senses. Zia Feng, Yanner, listen to me, both of you. From today on, keep the matter of you taking the Yen crystal from Sunset Forest to yourself. No one can tell. Do you hear me? I suspect that the appearance of the fire element titled Douluo named Zio Yan in your academy in Spirit Hall this time is related to the Yen crystal. Dugu Bo's face was livid, and his tone was full of unquestionable seriousness, emphasizing the importance of the matter to the two. Ah. Okay, Grandpa, we won't tell anyone, Dugu Yan answered seriously, with a firm look in his eyes. Well, my dear granddaughter, Dugu Bo looked at the sensible Yanner, and his worries were slightly relieved. At this time, Lin Feng was very happy. He thought to himself, this incident in the Spirit Hall, did the news of titled Douluo Zio Yan spread so quickly? Then, wouldn't he be able to do a lot of things in the future with the title? Thinking of this, a faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth unconsciously. Lin Feng, did you hear that? Grandpa is talking to us. Dugu Yan looked at Lin Feng who was still silent and reminded him softly. I heard it, don't worry, Grandpa. Lin Feng nodded, indicating that he understood. At this moment, Lin Feng suddenly took out a booklet from his soul guide. On it were written the words Soul Core Cultivation Method. Grandpa, this is the Soul Core Cultivation Method I realized when I was refining the Yen crystal. I recorded all the Soul Core Cultivation methods here. Take a look, it should help you improve your strength. Dugu Bo took the booklet handed over by Lin Feng, and after just flipping through a few pages, the surprise on his face could not be suppressed and bloomed instantly. This, a wild idea. Ha ha ha, good boy, you are such a genius. You have figured out this kind of thing. Grandpa, thank you in advance. If you need any herbs or medicine in the future, come to my house. I have a lot more at home. I can't tell them apart myself. Just take whatever you like. Don't be polite to Grandpa. Dugu Bo lowered his head and laughed at the contents of the booklet, and immediately promised Lin Feng. If he practiced this method, his combat strength would be greatly improved. Maybe he would be able to fight against a combination of Zhu and Gui in the future. Yet, Lin Feng nodded gently. This old deng actually still has some private goods hidden at home. Next time I find a chance, I must plunder him again. Lin Feng muttered to himself. Grandpa Du, please take this booklet to my father to see as well, this should be helpful to him too, Lin Feng continued. Although Lin Yi is not a titled Douluo now, he has taken the immortal grass and his physical fitness is not weak. He should be able to condense a soul core prototype first. Okay, Dugu Bo agreed. After Dugu Bo left, Lin Feng, what if this titled Douluo really finds out that we took the Yanjing? After Dugu Bo left, Dugu Yan looked at Lin Feng with a worried look and asked, Don't worry, Yaner, it's okay, don't worry about that fire titled Douluo, no one has discovered us, believe me. Lin Feng hugged Dugu Yan into his arms and comforted her softly, with confidence and determination in his eyes. Well, I listen to you, Lin Feng. Dugu Yan leaned on his shoulder, her voice gentle. A few days later, Xiandao Reserve Team Number 8 Training Ground. Everyone stop training first. Today I will introduce a new team member to you. Qin Ming looked at the people who were training and ordered, followed by Yu Lingling who had returned from hunting souls. Linger, you're back from hunting soul beasts. Dugu Yan happily came forward to greet her. Lin Feng behind her also smiled at her. Yet, this time it's all thanks to Lin Feng's fairy grass. Not only did it absorb the soul ring smoothly, but the soul power also increased a lot. Yi Lingling looked at Lin Feng behind her and became shy unconsciously. This man always cares about her in small details. Isn't this Yi Lingling with a 9-heart begonia martial spirit? Everyone cast curious eyes and looked at Yi Lingling back and forth. Ahem, everyone, this is our new team member Yi Lingling, martial spirit 9-heart holy begonia, 35th level healing soul master. Qin Ming cleared his throat and introduced proudly, I would like to say sorry to all the readers. The first 2 chapters gave everyone a bad reading experience due to the unreasonable plot design. The content of the first 2 chapters has been changed. If you are interested, you can go back to chapter 64 and start reading. Of course, if you don't want to go back to read the previous changes, it will not affect your continued reading. Thank you again to all the readers for your support, criticism and corrections to this book. Thanks to Jiu Jiu, Fens Hifa, Shuang, Hu Cheng, Buji, 8564, Yang Wanyin, and Yang Hangzhizu for sending monthly tickets. Chapter 68 Dugu Bo and Lin Yu both condense their soul cores. Level 35? How is that possible? Another 12-year-old soul master. I heard that she has a close relationship with Lin Feng and Dugu Yan. Isn't her martial soul the 9-hearted begonia? How come it's the 9-hearted holy begonia now? Everyone was surprised when they heard this. Although some people had heard of it before, they couldn't help but show their amazement when they saw this girl with a martial soul known as the strongest healing system. Another one who takes medicine, Zhu King thought in his heart, and looked at Yi Lingling curiously. Wait, this teacher Qin Ming said that the team will add one more person, doesn't that mean one of us will be eliminated? As soon as the discussion ended, someone soon realized that something was wrong. This is obviously to force someone into the team, then there is no need to think about it. One of us 3 must be eliminated. The faces of the 3 extras Yan Qing, Baru, and Yu Chen began to look ugly in an instant, and they muttered in a low voice. They knew in their hearts that the talents of the 3 of them were the worst among everyone. I know this decision is cruel, but everyone knows that Yi Lingling's healing ability is too important in our team. At this point, only one person can be eliminated. Yu Chen, you are eliminated, Qin Ming said with a cold look. He had thought carefully about this arrangement. Now the team already has 2 strong attack spirit masters, Lin Feng and Yu Xianheng. After weighing the pros and cons, Yu Chen, who is also a strong attack spirit master but slightly weaker, can only be eliminated. Why? How old am I? Isn't it okay for Yi Lingling, a 12-year-old girl, to participate in the next competition? Yu Chen felt that he had lost all his face and asked with a red face. Why? Of course it's because you are too rubbish. Letting you participate in the next competition will only bring shame to Xiandao. Although the words were true, Yu Xianheng on the side sneered disdainfully. His sneer was like a sharp blade, piercing straight into Yi Chen's heart. Yi Chen was immediately furious, but Yu Xianheng didn't care. Yu Xianheng, stop talking, Qin Ming hurriedly stopped him. Then, he turned around and said to Yu Chen seriously, if you don't want to, you can stay as long as you can defeat anyone present except Yi Lingling. Yu Chen gritted his teeth and hated secretly. But now, he can only find someone to challenge. He looked around, and the prince could not be challenged. And Yu Xianheng has the blue lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex martial spirit, and his strength is strong, and it is not easy to deal with. As for Lin Feng and Dugu Yan, they are even more ridiculous. After thinking about it, his eyes could only fall on Baru. Yu Chen? You want to compete with me for a position? Baru saw this and met Yu Chen's eyes and was immediately angry. Sorry, Baru, Yu Chen nodded helplessly. He knew in his heart that there were many geniuses in this class. If he could participate in the competition, he really had the hope of winning the championship. If he could graduate as a champion, it would be an irresistible temptation for him. In that case, Yu Chen, Baru, you two, follow me to the number 7 training ground, Qin Ming ordered, watching the tense atmosphere between the two. Yu Xianheng and Yan Qing followed Qin Ming after seeing that there was something interesting to watch. However, Lin Feng, Dugu Yan and Yi Lingling had no interest in this and went to the side to continue training. Lin Feng sat cross-legged, pretending to close his eyes and rest. Doesn't Lin Feng practice his own soul power? Yi Lingling looked at Lin Feng and asked with doubts in her eyes. Oh, Sister Linger, this is how Lin Feng practices recently. We don't need to worry about him, we practice our own. Dugu Yan hurriedly pulled Yi Lingling away from Lin Feng and explained. In fact, although Dugu Yan did not understand Lin Feng's way of practice, he knew that he could not be disturbed. Wandering in the sky, at this time, Lin Feng had already released his soul and wandered thousands of miles away. Almost every day, he would go to various places on the mainland. Although he was extremely fast, his field of vision was limited after all, and he had not visited many places in these days. Later, he went to the Wuhan Hall again and found that there was a strange power around the worship hall. His intuition told him that this power might discover him. He guessed that this might be related to divine power. He was a divine soul. Although he would not be attacked, some special means would still detect his existence. I wonder if Dugu and my father have condensed their soul cores. Lin Feng suddenly thought of it and decided to go and see. Then, he controlled a divine soul to turn back and escape in the direction of the yin-yang eye of ice and fire. Just thinking about these few seconds, Lin Feng had already flown thousands of miles past the yin-yang eye of ice and fire. But in an instant, Lin Feng braked suddenly and stopped above the yin-yang eye of ice and fire, a thatched house. Entering the room, Lin Feng saw Dugu sitting cross-legged in the middle of the bed, condensing his soul core. The fluctuating soul power around him was strong and stable, indicating that his condensation process was very smooth. Grandpa Du did a good job. I don't have to worry about it. The next step should be to successfully condense the soul core. Lin Feng nodded with satisfaction. It was just as he expected. But a moment later, Dugu's eyes burst into confident light, and he shouted, "Condition!" All the soul power in his body gathered together to form a soul core the size of a thumb. Ha! The soul core finally condensed successfully. From now on, I, Dugu, will also have peerless talent. Dugu laughed up to the sky. Thanks to Finger, marrying Yanner to him is really a big profit, he said excitedly. I didn't expect that this old Deng has such a middle school side. Peerless Douluo, you really dare to think? Lin Feng was amazed. Even if he took the fairy grass to change his qualifications, level 99 is still a huge watershed. It's really uncertain whether Dugu can succeed. But since Dugu has successfully condensed the soul core, it should be no problem to break through a level 98 in the future. Lin Feng played a little tune and flew away. Lin Feng came to the Flame Valley and saw that his father was also trying to condense his soul core, but the process seemed extremely reluctant. Flame Valley. Today is a special day. The largest volcano in the valley suddenly erupted, and a powerful soul power tide swept across the entire Flame Valley. Everyone in the Lin family was excited to see this. This is a good time to practice. At this time, Lin Yi appeared in the air of the Flame Valley, frowning and looking at the scene below. The soul power tide is coming, this time I have to hurry up to practice. The head of the family is in seclusion. Quickly protect the head of the family's room. In front of Lin Yi's room, a large group of people gathered together. The soul power tide is good. However, for Lin Yi, the overly rich soul power makes it more difficult for him to condense a soul core, and the balance in his body is also broken. Father is actually condensing a soul core, this is troublesome. Lin Feng immediately entered the room below and saw Lin Yi soaking in the hot spring, with an immortal golden flame floating on the surface of the hot spring. This hot spring is connected to the underground volcanic veins. The fire attribute soul power from the underground constantly surges up through the hot spring. It is the most suitable treasure land for fire attribute soul masters to practice. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69 Tang San, Donor, put down the whip and become a Buddha right away. But now, as the volcano erupted, the hot spring began to vibrate and splashed water. The soul power became violent. Lin Yu frowned and tried to maintain his balance, but the sweat on his forehead proved that it was not easy for him to do so. Seeing this scene, Lin Feng was a little anxious. If he didn't help him, Lin Yu would definitely fail to condense the soul core this time, and he would be seriously injured or even lose his life. He couldn't care less. Master Lin, restrain your soul power and don't absorb it forcibly. Lin Feng used gorgeous special effects to show Xiao Yan's figure in the sky again, and immediately reminded him. Father Lin was shocked when he heard the voice. But he still obeyed this inexplicable instruction, adjusted his own state, and silently condensed the soul core. First, condense the soul power to the Chongyang acute point, then pass through the central, Xiang, and Lingte, and circulate around the whole body. Don't absorb too much soul power, spit out a little. Isolate it from the body and keep the soul power circulating in the body. Lin Yu listened to the voice and circulated the soul power in his body, sometimes violently, sometimes gently and long. After dozens of cycles, all the soul power was gathered together. Here it comes. Lin Yu gathered and condensed with force, and successfully condensed a soul core the size of a little finger. Successfully condensed the soul core, Lin Feng breathed a sigh of relief. Lin Yu slowly opened his eyes and looked at the figure in the sky with green flames all over his body, and was greatly shocked. Thank you for your guidance, Senior. He didn't have time to be happy, and bowed to the direction where the voice came from, and his voice was full of sincerity. If it weren't for the other party, he would be seriously injured at best, or even dead at worst. Is the Senior the fire-type Titled Douluo who made a fuss in the spirit hall? He couldn't help but guess. In the sky, Xiao Yan nodded slightly. Why are you here, Senior? Why are you still instructing me? Lin Yu asked with a puzzled look on his face. In his memory, he had never met anyone who is worthy of a title. Lin Feng didn't know how to answer the question. Suddenly, an idea came to his mind, and he turned around and said, I am the teacher of your son Lin Feng, and this is where I was in seclusion. No wonder, you are Xia Feng's master, Lin Yu suddenly realized and said excitedly. Then everything makes sense. In the Sunset Forest, Xia Feng, Yaner and I were able to successfully seize the Anjing. Later, the Wuhan Hall suddenly appeared a fire-type Titled Douluo and stopped them from investigating the matter. Yes, it all matched. Thank you for your kindness in teaching Fenger. This kindness, my Lin family will never forget. Lin Yu stood up and bowed respectfully to Xiao Yan in the sky. Don't mention what happened today to others. Before Lin Feng left, he reminded Lin Yi again. Don't worry, Senior, Lin Yu knows and will never disclose your news to others. Lin Yi's voice was full of excitement. Xiao Feng could be accepted as a disciple by such a powerful Titled Douluo. His Lin family will be prosperous. After that, Lin Feng thought about going to see Tang San again. As soon as he arrived, he saw Tang San tied up with several thick hemp ropes and hung on the beams, with his back torn. The way of tying reminded him of the tortoise shell binding. Tang Hao raised his whip and whipped him. You actually poisoned me. Rebellious son, Tang Hao roared angrily. Lin Feng couldn't help but be shocked, thinking, I ran into such a big scene as soon as I came in. Please, put down the whip, turn back, I just, want to help you ascend to the Western, Elysium. Why don't you, listen to me? Tang San cried out in pain, but he kept muttering in his mouth. I told you to go, damn it, what are you talking about? Speak something that people can understand. Tang Hao became even angrier when he heard Tang San's stuttering words, and whipped Tang San again and again with the whip in his hand. Ha, this Tang San really thinks he is a monk. I am dying of laughter. Lin Feng in the spirit form couldn't help but complain about Tang San's change. That's right. How did Tang San's patricide get exposed again? He won't die here today. Tang Hao was angry. I don't know where this kid learned these things from, and who taught him badly. He keeps saying these incomprehensible words all day long. Tang Hao looked at Tang San with a puzzled expression, angry at Tang San's bad behavior all day long. After a while, maybe Tang Hao was tired of beating him again, so he threw down the whip and went back to the inner room to rest. Tang San endured the pain and was full of doubts in his heart. His poison had obviously been upgraded. Why didn't it work? How did Tang Hao find out again? Chapter 70, Tang San becomes a disciple, once a master, always a father, 10,000 updates. Chapter 70 Tang San becomes a disciple, once a teacher, always a father, 10,000 more. Tang Hao's physical condition is really weird. Tang San's heart was filled with waves. He has lived in this world for 5 years, and through what he has seen and heard, now, he is more and more certain that this world is probably very different from the world he knows. Tang San's thoughts can't help but drift back to the awakening martial spirit that the village chief grandfather talked about before. Could it be that this martial spirit is the key to controlling the power of this world? But he was full of doubts. This Tang Hao is just an ordinary blacksmith who spends all day with the fire and the hammer. The rough hands and sloppy face have nothing to do with the mysterious martial spirit power. Recalling that he had just poisoned Tang Hao, Tang San frowned. That was a highly toxic poison that he had almost searched all over the village to prepare. It turned out to be completely ineffective against Tang Hao. How to go in the future, Tang San had no idea, and his heart was full of confusion and helplessness. Damn it, is there anyone who can tell me what kind of world this is? He shouted in anger in his heart. At the same time, Lin Feng, who was in the spirit state, was in a playful mood, and the story of Xiao Yan and Yao Lao suddenly emerged in his mind. An interesting idea came to his mind. Why not follow suit? Tang San, an ancient man, once a teacher, always a father. Yu Xiaogang was just a great spirit master, but he respected him so much. Although he couldn't keep up with Tang San in the end and fell behind. But to be honest, Tang San did enough for Yu Xiaogang. What would it be like if I accepted Tang San as my apprentice? Under the waterfall behind the village, it was quiet and silent all around, only the roar of the waterfall echoed in my ears. While Tang Hao was resting, Tang San dragged his tired and injured body and found a clean place to sit cross-legged. Hiss, the dog thief was really cruel. Tang San gently touched the wound and felt a burst of pain. Just when he wanted to close his eyes and rest, and heal his wounds here, the calm water pool suddenly emitted a strange light, which became brighter and brighter, forcing him to open his eyes. What's going on? Tang San was surprised, and subconsciously stood up and looked around vigilantly. Then, a majestic and mysterious aura surged out from the bottom of the lake, as if to swallow up the whole world. My friend, what year is it today? At this moment, an old and majestic voice sounded from the depths of the water pool. Who are you? Don't hide, come out if you have the guts. Tang San's nerves tensed up instantly, and his eyes revealed a look of shock. He clenched his hands unconsciously and tried to communicate with this mysterious voice carefully. Who am I? It's been too long, I can't remember it clearly. I remember they all called me Yao Lao. Lin Feng continued to make an empty and mysterious voice seriously. Yao Lao? Who are you? How can I trust you? Tang San asked cautiously with doubts in his heart. He knew very well that in this world full of unknowns, he couldn't trust anyone easily. Hearing this, Lin Feng instantly used a gorgeous special effect, and a water column surged up from the calm water surface. On top of the water column, stood an old man with white hair and a beard like a halberd. The old man's eyes were as deep as the abyss, and he exuded a powerful aura, as if he was a peerless strong man from ancient times. Tang San on the side was shocked and dodged to the side in a hurry, his eyes full of awe and shock. This Yao Lao must be a strong man in this world, with unfathomable strength. Even if he had practiced Zhuanshan Guang to perfection, he would not have such a powerful aura. Ha, don't panic, my friend, I'm just a soul sealed under this pool, and I woke up today by chance. I see that you and I are destined to be together, so I'm talking to you. Lin Feng pretended to be the kind-hearted Yao Lao and said. It must be said that Yao Lao's appearance is naturally approachable. After the two talked again, Tang San believed that the other party was a strong man from a long time ago, and had been sealed here for tens of thousands of years. Senior, you are so strong. Tang San was overjoyed. He knew very well what a chance it was to have a conversation with such a strong man. A strong man who has lived for tens of thousands of years. He must have become an immortal. At the same time, he also deeply felt the power of this world, which was far beyond his imagination. If he could learn some skills from him in life for tens of thousands of years, what would be the difference between that and immortality? Immortality is the ultimate dream of all Chinese people. Tang San was excited. Senior Yao Lao, what time is this evening that you asked at the beginning? I don't know how long it has passed since your time, but, Senior, do you know the Xiandao Empire? Tang San suddenly changed the subject and asked expectantly. It's the Xiandao Empire again. The country founded by Little Swan still exists. Lin Feng was slightly startled, then he said slowly, with a hint of emotion in his tone. Tang San couldn't help but tremble when he heard Lin Feng's nonchalant tone. He felt that the other party's strength was unfathomable and unpredictable. He immediately knelt down with a thump and said sincerely, Senior, Tang San is willing to worship you as his master, and I hope you can take me in. His voice was firm and sincere, full of desire for power and vision for the future. Lin Feng smiled helplessly and said, I am trapped here and cannot go out. I can only relieve my boredom on weekdays, and I will continue to sleep soon. Even so, Tang San is willing to worship you as a master, and I hope the senior will help me. Although Tang San was a little disappointed, his eyes were still firm. He kowtowed again and again to express his determination. Okay, seeing that you are so sincere, I agree to take you as my disciple, but you need to promise me one thing. When you have the ability in the future, you must release me. Seeing that he was determined, Lin Feng nodded. Thank you, Master. Tang San was full of excitement, and there was a tremor in his voice. Tang San swears here that once you are my teacher, you will always be my father, even if I risk my life. I, Tang San, will definitely save Master. Lin Feng waved his hand and said nonchalantly, I can't remember how many disciples I have accepted. You don't have to take it too seriously. Just think of it as spending time with me. Although Tang San felt a little disappointed, he didn't care. He then asked curiously, Master, how were you sealed here? A trace of pain and anger flashed in Lin Feng's eyes, and he slowly said, during the civil war between the 8 ancient tribes. I was ambushed by Emperor Hun Yan, and was sealed here out of helplessness. Tang San listened attentively, and the grand and tragic battle scene emerged in his mind, and his heart was full of surprise and yearning. By the way, what's the matter with your injury? Lin Feng changed the subject and asked with concern. Tang San's face instantly turned gloomy, a trace of anger flashed in his eyes, and he gritted his teeth and said, Master, this was beaten by my father. I am very sorry for giving you a bad feeling the day before yesterday. I will try my best to give back to you by updating 10,000 chapters every day this week. Thank you all readers for your understanding. Shamelessly asking for monthly tickets and recommendation tickets next month. The typos in the first 20 chapters have been corrected, and I will ask the editor for permission to correct the rest during the day. Thanks to Gu Junzi and Kongbei for sending monthly tickets. Thanks to 6,942 and Hu Cheng for the rewards. Chapter 71 Zuanshan Guang is obtained. The disciple pays tribute to the master. He hit me because I like beauty. Master, you won't dislike me when you see me like this, right? After saying that, Tang San looked at the lake anxiously, fearing that Yao Lao would dislike him because of this. I've seen so many people, let alone beauty. There are many who like men. Everyone has their own preferences. It's no big deal. Lin Feng was slightly stunned, and then pretended to be calm. In fact, he himself felt that this statement was a bit far-fetched. Fortunately, Tang San didn't notice his embarrassment. You are worthy of being my master. I really have a telepathic connection. Master, please help me. Tang San was overjoyed and said immediately. Lin Feng shook his head helplessly and said, I can't move now, I can't help you. Tang San came back to his senses, and a trace of disappointment appeared on his face. But I can help you, as Lin Feng said. Silver-gray flames burst out from his body. At the same time, circles of green light spread from the bottom of his feet to the surroundings. The huge spiritual power that seemed to be contained in this light circle surged down the mountain like a tide. Tang San only felt a strange power sweeping over him. The power was powerful and mysterious, which shocked him. Is your father from the blacksmith family? Lin Feng's voice sounded in front of Tang San again. Yes, yes. Tang San's eyes widened in surprise, and he was amazed that his master could see so far. This strength was beyond imagination. At this time, he completely believed every word that his master Yao Lao said. He is not an ordinary person, he is a Titled Douluo. Lin Feng's face was calm and he said lightly. Titled Douluo. Tang San was surprised and had a sense of expectation. Then, he quickly asked again, Master, What is a titled Douluo? A titled Douluo, according to this era, should be considered a strong person standing at the top of the Douluo Continent. Joining any empire as a priest can earn at least 1 million gold soul coins a year. Even if the emperor sees him, he must be polite, Lin Feng patiently explained to Tang San. Then this Tang Hao's mother is really damned. With such a strong strength, he does nothing on weekdays, and I have to support him. Hearing this, Tang San was immediately furious, and his hatred for Tang Hao became stronger and stronger, muttering in a low voice. But suddenly he thought again, such a powerful person must have a very meticulous mind. Could it be that he has discovered that he is not his biological son? The more Tang San thought about it, the more possible it was. Otherwise, which father would be so bad to his child? It can't be because of a bloody plot like he killed his wife? Wait. Tang San suddenly remembered that when Tang Hao beat him some time ago, he shouted a yin or something like that. Could it be that his mother's name is a yin? Did she really die of dystocia when giving birth to him? If that's the case, it means Tang Hao didn't find him. Tang San couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Lin Feng looked at Tang San's changing face and couldn't help asking. Xiao Saner, what are you thinking about? No, nothing, master, I just thought about some things about hiking. Tang San's eyes dodged hurriedly and he stammered. Since you don't want to say it, I won't ask. According to my observation, you have a power that doesn't belong to a spirit master. It looks a bit strange, Lin Feng said tentatively. He knew what was in Tang San's body, but he just wanted to hear him admit it in person to see if he had completely trusted himself. Hearing this, Tang San's nerves, which had just relaxed, tightened again. Master should be talking about the Zuanshanguang in my body, which is my own secret. He can even see this. It seems that Master's strength has reached a point that I can't estimate. Whatever. Master has already discovered it, so I must not hide it any more, lest I miss this opportunity sent by heaven. Without thinking any more, Tang San bowed and answered seriously, Master is right, this is exactly the Zhuangtianguang that I practice in my body. Since Master wants to know, I must answer truthfully. What is this Zhuangtianguang? Seeing that Tang San took the bait, Lin Feng continued to ask curiously. Zhuangtianguang is a kind of internal power that I practice. It is endless and powerful. The highest level can show the image of 3 flowers gathering at the top of the head, Tang San said with a bit of complacency. With a sincere face, he recited the entire text of Zhuangtianguang to Lin Feng. And he also told him his own experience and practice. Ha ha ha. It turns out that he is a good disciple that I have set my eyes on. Lin Feng was overjoyed. At the same time, Tang San changed his mind. In the future, if he practices Ghost Shadow Mirage Steps and Purple Demon Eye, he will be discovered sooner or later. So, he told Lin Feng all these skills. Lin Feng was even happier. The reason why he didn't change the entry of Tang San as a traitor of the Tang sect was that he was thinking about getting this knowledge one day. He didn't expect Tang San to be so sensible. These things, I have really never seen before. They sound a bit novel, as if they don't belong to this world. They are quite meaningful for reference. How about this? After you awaken your martial spirit, can I give you an opportunity? Lin Feng said seriously. As expected of the master, his vision is too sharp. Thank you, master. Thanks to master's kindness, I am fortunate to meet you today. I will practice diligently in the future, Tang San said excitedly, and the pain on his body had long been thrown out of his mind. That's great. You can leave first, and I will continue to sleep. After saying that, the water column rising from the water surface slowly fell into the water, splashing layers of crystal water. The light emanating from the old man and his figure gradually dimmed. Farewell, master. Tang San suddenly plopped and knelt on the ground again. Seeing Lin Feng leave, Tang San was overjoyed. Today's luck is really good, to be able to worship such a powerful master. Tang. How? Your mother had a difficult birth, and you actually blamed me for this? Even if you are a titled Douluo, you have a way to die. It won't be long before I will kill you with my own hands. Tang San clenched his fists, and a trace of cold murderous intent flashed in his eyes. Xian'ao Academy Training Ground. The afterglow of the setting sun dyed the entire field orange-red. After Lin Feng's soul came back, he slowly opened his eyes and found that it was dusk in the sky. Lin Feng, you finally woke up. Dugu Yan's crisp voice broke the silence around him. Why did you practice for so long this time? Everyone has left. Dugu Yan walked quickly to Lin Feng's side and asked with a worried look on her face. Lin Feng looked around, and the lively training ground was now empty. Except for the Shi brothers and Yu Lingling, no other figures could be seen. Chapter 72 Twin Lotuses, Graphite and Stone Grinding. Why did you practice for so long this time? Everyone has left. Dugu Yan walked quickly to Lin Feng and asked with a worried look on her face. Lin Feng looked around. The lively training ground had now become empty. Except for the Shi brothers and Yu Lingling, no other people could be seen. I've kept you waiting for a long time, sorry. Lin Feng stood up and touched Dugu Yan's head. Lingling, how was the competition between Baru and Yu Chen today? Lin Feng turned around and asked Yu Lingling behind him curiously. In the end, Baru won. Oh, Lin Feng, you, a great soul king, are still concerned about this. Go eat quickly, we've been waiting for you here for a long time and we're already hungry. Shimo put one hand on his brother Shimo's shoulder and pleaded with Lin Feng with a bitter face. Ha ha ha, okay, you forgot about eating, let's go eat. Lin Feng waved his hand and said with a big laugh. College cafeteria. As it was almost dusk, it was just in time for lunch in the cafeteria. There was a constant stream of people coming and going. Aren't those Lin Feng and Dugu Yan from Xiandao Class 1? The one following next to them is Yi Lingling. I heard that she is going to join the Xiandao reserve team. Is this true? It's true. She didn't come to class this afternoon. Many people stopped eating and looked at the few people talking about it. Lin Feng and his group turned a deaf ear to it, not caring at all, and walked straight through the eyes of the crowd. They have experienced this kind of thing too many times. After they got their meals, they found a private room in the corner of the second floor and sat down. It's really boring. I don't want to go to school. Dugu Yan ate a few mouthfuls of rice, put down his chopsticks boredly, and complained with a depressed face. What's wrong? Hearing this, Yi Lingling asked hurriedly with a puzzled look on her face, her eyes full of concern. Lin Feng on the side was eating calmly, as if he had seen this scene before. It's normal for children to make trouble and not go to school, especially those academic masters. Now Lin Feng is a soul king, and I am a soul sect. The lessons the teacher teaches every day are useless. It's better to learn more from the things Lin Feng and I experience outside. Dugu Yan picked up the food on the plate with chopsticks randomly, looking decadent. Hey, look at what my eldest lady said. Shimo and I, the two great soul masters, are still here. Can you not be so hurtful when you say something? Shimo looked at Lin Feng, Dugu Yan, and Yi Lingling sitting in front of him with disdain. Thinking of Lin Feng just picking up food with his left hand and then with his right hand. The way they were affectionate with each other made him even more angry. Go away, who are you calling eldest lady? Dugu Yan heard this and was about to stand up and pretend to hit Shimo. Yes, Dugu Yan, my brother is right, now even Lingling is a soul master. With the strength of the three of you, can't you be the boss in the academy? What are you talking about, not going to school? There are so many delicious things in the school, would you be willing to give them up? If you become the boss, my brother and I will follow you, Shimo said naively while stuffing rice into his mouth. Yes, good idea, why didn't I think of it? Upon hearing this, Shimo slapped his brother's shoulder with a palm, causing Shimo to cough repeatedly. Then, Shimo supported his brother's back to relieve him, and said sincerely, Ahem, Boss Lin Feng, do you still have that grass? If you don't mind, we two brothers can do it. Shimo looked at Lin Feng with a smirk. Get out. What nonsense are you talking about? My sexual orientation is normal. Lin Feng rolled his eyes at them. In fact, Lin Feng also felt the same boredom as Dugu Yan. But he was fine, he could wander around and go out to relieve his boredom. After a burst of laughter, the few people regained their peace. Yi Lingling didn't say anything else, and ate silently. Suddenly, Dugu Yan looked at Lin Feng, who was eating with a firm look in her eyes. Lin Feng, why don't we drop out of school? The two brothers of the Shi family looked at Dugu Yan in shock. No, sister, are you serious? You can't do this. What if you really drop out of school? No, sister-in-law, you and brother can't abandon the two of us, Shimo shouted like a ghost crying and a wolf howling. Lin Feng was stunned by such a serious question. He didn't really want to go out. Now he has only the strength of a soul king, and he can only use the soul core energy to burst out a soul Douluo attack. Even with a strange fire that even the Titled Douluo can't stop, it is still not safe enough. It is still very dangerous outside. It's better to meet a soul saint, but it will be difficult if it is a soul Douluo or a Titled Douluo. If they can't handle this strange fire, they can hide away. It's better to stay in school. Anyway, he has a soul wandering outside and can go out to play. But Dugu Yan seems to be impatient. Shimo saw Lin Feng's hesitation and pulled Shimo around the dining table in an instant. The two of them held one of Lin Feng's legs each and shouted in pain, "Lin Feng, we have been friends for so many years. If you really leave, what should we do? If you must leave, take us with you." The tearful performance of the two immediately annoyed Lin Feng. "Who said you're leaving? You two, move away quickly." Hey, okay, I won't leave, okay." Lin Feng tried to shake them off, but no matter how hard he tried, he was still indifferent. In the end, he could only look at the two helplessly. It must be said that the soul power of these two people is indeed a bit of a drag now. It just so happens that Dugu Yan and others haven't used the refresh opportunity for the past 6 months. Let's refresh it first to see if there are any good entries. System, refresh the entries of Shimo and Shimo, Ling. The entries have been refreshed successfully. Outstanding talent, purple, you have full innate soul power. Lin Feng was pleasantly surprised when he looked at the refresh panels of the two. They both had purple outstanding talents. Shimo's was innate level 10, and Shimo's was innate level 9. With the fairy grass, they can reach level 30 like Ling. Lin Feng remembered the fairy grass he had obtained from the yin-yang eye of ice and fire before, and there was one that was particularly suitable for them. So, Lin Feng bent down and disdainfully separated the two from his legs, and took out the fairy grass from the soul guide. Yes, this is a twin lotus with 2 lotus flowers. You two should swallow it separately. It can make your soul power and physique extremely similar, and it can also improve the affinity of your martial souls. Maybe it can help you reach 100% martial soul fusion. 100% fusion, the two exclaimed. The higher the degree of fusion, the stronger the power of their martial soul fusion skills will be. The degree of fusion between them is about 90%, which can already burst out the combat power of the soul sect level. If it is 100%, wouldn't it be? Shimo was very excited. Brother Lin Feng, don't say anything. From now on, the two of us brothers will be yours in life and yours in death. Just say a word, brother, and we will immediately clean our butts and wait for you. Get out, don't be so funny, just absorb the fairy grass quickly. Lin Feng waved his hand and said with disgust. Shimo happily took the fairy grass, and hurriedly pulled Shimo to sit down in an empty space in the box and started to absorb it. Chapter 73 Unprecedented, the humanoid martial soul merges with a graphite mill. Chapter 73 Unprecedented, humanoid martial soul fusion, graphite mill. Yaner, wait a little longer. If we are to venture into this continent now, our strength is still too weak. Lin Feng turned to comfort Dugu Yan. Okay. Dugu Yan lowered his eyebrows and nodded helplessly. What Lin Feng said was right, but it is true that the teacher's lectures are too boring now. In the future, you should think about doing something with Lin Feng? No, skipping classes together and going back to the dormitory to practice martial soul fusion is also fine. Thinking of this, Dugu Yan's face quietly flushed. Lin Feng looked at Dugu Yan and Yi Lingling again. Now that the Shi brothers' entries have been refreshed with good things, I wonder what Yaner and Lingling's will be like. System, entry refresh, then, Lin Feng silently said in his heart. Ling. Entries refreshed, meteor appearance, purple, you can summon a stream of light to land and attack the enemy immortal god of war. Purple, you will never age naturally, and your strength will always remain at the peak. Clear sky hammer, purple, you have the top level martial soul, clear sky hammer. Lin Feng looked at the entries after the two refreshed, and after reading them, there was not a single good one. He couldn't help but sigh. Alice, I have to wait another half a year. Retracting his thoughts, Lin Feng looked at the two brothers of the Shi family sitting on the ground. At this time, both of them began to emit a dark green light, and this light was getting stronger and stronger. Lin Feng knew in his heart that this was because the fusion degree of their martial souls was increasing. The fusion of the nether white tiger was only 70%. The highest martial soul fusion degree mentioned in the original work was the golden holy dragon of the golden iron triangle, and the martial soul fusion degree reached 99%. 2 soul saints plus a great soul master can fight against a Titled Douluo. It's so terrifying. Although he didn't fuse this entry at will, he could still fuse the Trinity martial souls with a tacit understanding between him, Dugu Yan and Yi Lingling. But the fusion degree was only about 80%. I wonder how powerful the 100% martial soul fusion can be. Lin Feng looked at the Shi brothers curiously. Suddenly, the two of them were possessed by the black tortoise martial soul, and the tortoise shell on their bodies was also changing rapidly. I saw that the size of the black tortoise was getting bigger and bigger. The shell that looked small at first almost completely wrapped the two of them in a few seconds. Then, it was a long stage of absorbing the fairy grass. Lin Feng looked at the two people who were absorbing, and then called Dugu Yan and Yilingling to sit beside him and continue eating. After eating, he tried to practice the Zhuanshan Guang he had just acquired. In his body, the soul power seemed to have changed from a toddler to a child who had just learned to walk, and the speed of operation was indeed greatly improved. At the same time, it also slightly promoted the speed of practice. This is because he often changed the intelligence entries, such as the early reading of 10 lines at a glance, the flying master, and the later dragon hunting and gold division. Wisdom has long grown to an extraordinary level, and it is easy to get started with Zhuanshan Guang after just one look. The idea is good, but there is still room for improvement. Well, I will revise it later. Lin Feng commented on Zhuantian Gong with satisfaction. It should not take long for him to practice to perfection. Lin Feng continued to practice. An hour later, the light green light on the two brothers of the Shi family disappeared. Lin Feng, Yaner, Lingling, our soul power has exceeded level 30. The two slowly opened their eyes, jumped up in surprise and said, "Great! Congratulations!" Dugu Yan and Yilingling hurried forward to congratulate. Lin Feng behind them also looked at the two with a happy face. "Boss, watch our performance." Shimo was excited and couldn't wait to pull Shimo's martial soul to merge. In the room, after a flash of light, the two merged almost instantly, leaving only a man with a face very similar to the two brothers. Lin Feng opened his mouth slightly. He didn't expect it to be like this. "Ah! What is this? Can martial soul fusion also take the shape of a human?" Yilingling's eyes widened in surprise, and she pointed at the other party with her slender jade finger. "That's weird, you two. Tell me what's going on." "Ha ha ha, Boss Yan, don't worry." The man grinned and laughed, making a mixed sound of Shimo and Shimo. He boasted with a little excitement, "There's something more surprising for you, martial soul possession." As his voice sounded, the whole person seemed to be transformed into a beast, possessed by the black tortoise. His body became thick and grew animal feet, and his back turned into a huge tortoise shell. In his hand, he also held a huge shield, which was thick and hard. The characteristics of the black tortoise martial soul can be transformed into a black tortoise shield. But now he can both possess martial souls and summon black tortoise shields. This is not over yet. Buzz buzz buzz, 4 yellow soul rings suddenly rose under the man's feet, slowly rotating non-stop. This is our 100% martial soul fusion. After the fusion, it is still a soul master. Not only does it have 2 sets of soul rings, but it can also release soul skills normally. Even the soul power has reached level 45. Ha ha ha, isn't it amazing? After we get the 3rd soul ring, we will have 6 soul rings. We are going to call him Shimomo. How about it? Shimo raised his eyebrows proudly and said. Lin Feng and the other two looked at him quietly. Although they felt that this martial soul fusion was really good, they didn't want to pay attention to them at all. "Let's go first after the show. It's dark outside now," Lin Feng continued. "Ahoho, I'm sleepy. Go back to sleep. I want to go back too," Dugu Yan yawned and said with Yilingling. "Hey, don't worry about you. I haven't finished my meal yet." Shimomo hurried back to the table and showed off the remaining food. "Damn, I only have one mouth." He was eating when he suddenly felt something was wrong. Eating like this was too slow. He quickly cancelled the fusion of his martial soul and turned back into Shimo and Shimo. The two of them ate the food together. "Eat slowly, we'll wait for you." Lin Feng and the others were just joking just now, and they smiled and sat back down. Lin Feng looked down through the 2nd floor window. There were only a few people eating in the cafeteria at this time. At this moment, Lin Feng suddenly thought of it. It's too low to refresh only those close to you. Why not look at the remaining people in the cafeteria and refresh them? Then try to use those who have upgraded their entries for yourself. Wouldn't it be faster to improve your own power this way? Lin Feng got interested in it right away. Looking at the people in the cafeteria, as Lin Feng silently recited, their entries were refreshed one by one. Lin Feng looked at the results of the refresh with joy. It's a pity that there was no purple, but there were quite a few white upgraded to green. Lin Feng sighed. What's going on? I should come back at a different time next time. Maybe there are too few people now. Lin Feng thought secretly. As for the entries after the refresh, he did not change any of them to avoid trouble. Lin Feng, What's wrong with you? Why are you sighing? Dugu Yan looked at Lin Feng's expression and asked with a puzzled look. No, nothing, he shook his head. I'm done, let's go. Shimo suddenly raised his hand and wiped his mouth and shouted. Several people left the box, leaving a mess. Just as they walked to the door of the restaurant, suddenly, a white-skinned, thin boy passed by them. Lin Feng subconsciously looked at him. Why did you come to eat so late? System, search for entries. Name, Yu Kuang. Age, 25 years old. Innate soul power, level 6. Martial soul, wild wind bird. High level, soul power, level 39. Entries, loyal and righteous person. White, slightly talented. Green, glory to the family. Green, rise up in anger. Green. Chapter 74, The Possibility of Artificial Genius. Target control. Lin Feng followed the others towards the dormitory while checking his entry. Loyal and righteous person. White, you value loyalty and righteousness very much, and you will repay kindness. When you see injustice on the road, you will draw your sword to help. Lin Feng was not going to look at the other party's entry in detail, but he was attracted by the entry of this loyal and righteous person. He followed the others towards the dormitory while thinking. He just needed this kind of person to help. If he could paste entries for others, he would want to copy a loyal and righteous person, and give this entry to someone when he conquers him in the future. However, it would be even better if there was a loyalty entry. Lin Feng felt that he was thinking too much, and he couldn't even paste entries for others now. Perhaps only the red entry copy can do that. Then, Lin Feng looked down. Glorious ancestors. Green, you have been a soldier all your life, and you were canonized as the Marquess of Yuquang by the Snow Avalanche Emperor, and you will protect your descendants for 100 years after your death. Glorious ancestors. This is considered good among the fate entries he has seen. Rise in a rage. Green, when you are furious, your strength and stamina are greatly enhanced, but you will become weak afterwards. This rise in a rage is not bad either. It may be related to the martial soul. But since the entry has been generated, it means that it is a move learned from the characteristics of the martial soul. In this way, this Yu Kuang is also a genius. System, entry refresh, Ling. The entry is refreshed successfully, Ling. Congratulations on refreshing the glory to the ancestor entry to trigger the entry upgrade. Lin Feng was very surprised. It turned out that the passerby with the purple entry was waiting for him here. After quickly looking at the loyal and righteous person and rise in a rage, there were no good entries, so he chose to keep them. As for the slightly talented, it did not trigger the upgrade. Then, Lin Feng carefully looked at the refreshed entry of glory to the ancestor. Thunder rolling, purple. Every time you break through a major level, you will summon an extremely dangerous thunder. If you can get through it, you will get huge benefits. Ride the wind, purple. You are the darling of the wind and can activate the power of the wind at will. Earth escape technique, purple. You can sneak underground and move forward at a very fast speed. Thunder rumbles in the sky, and it looks terrifying. If anyone sees the huge benefits and chooses it, then he will have a hard time in the future. Lin Feng would not choose this kind of entry with side effects if he could. Ride the wind. Using the power of the wind, this is quite suitable for Yu Kuang, and it happens that his martial soul is the windbird. Although the feature of the earth escape technique, which allows people to sneak underground, makes people very secretive, it doesn't seem to be of much use. In terms of secrecy, is there anyone who can compare to his wandering in the sky? Then the most suitable one for Yu Kuang is ride the wind. It's just that whether to refresh it depends on whether he can win him over later. Lin Feng will not choose it for the time being. Without changing or keeping it, the entry will remain in the selection state until his next choice. On the way back to the dormitory, the moonlight was like water. The two brothers of the Shi family were discussing the changes that had taken place after absorbing the fairy grass today with great interest. Suddenly, Shimo looked naive, with a curious light flashing in his round eyes. Brother, when do you think we should ask our family to help us hunt for spirit rings? He asked, pulling Shimo's sleeve. Shimo patted Shimo's head and said in a mature manner, why rush? Father and mother will come to see us in 2 days. I will ask for leave from Teacher Qin tomorrow. After that, he turned his head and said to Lin Feng jokingly, but, Boss Lin, Shimo and I will be away for a few days, so don't miss us too much. When we come back, we will serve you well. At this time, Lin Feng's mind had long been attracted by Yu Kuang who passed by before. His mind was full of Yu Kuang's figure and his various ideas for his future. He didn't hear a word of what Shimo said. Lin Feng. Seeing that Lin Feng had no reaction, Shimo walked quickly in front of him. Reaching out and poking his shoulder, he raised his voice, "What are you thinking about? Are you hooked?" "Oh." Shimo, Lin Feng came back to his senses, and hurriedly yawned, pretending to be sleepy. "I just felt sleepy, and my mind was a little distracted. If you feel sleepy, go back quickly." "Yes, let's go back early." Dugu Yan and Yi Lingling also came over with concern, and Dugu Yan's eyes were full of worry. Yi Lingling smiled gently and said softly, "Okay, you have a good sister to accompany you. Shimo and I will leave first." Shimo shook his head helplessly, pulled Shimo and turned away. After saying goodbye in the dormitory square, several people walked towards their respective dormitories. Because of different grades, the location of the dormitories is also different. Lin Feng waited until he was sure that the few people had gone far away and their figures disappeared in the moonlight. Then he turned and walked quickly towards the direction of the cafeteria, for fear that if he was a step late, Yu Kuang would finish his meal and leave. Such a loyal person is not easy to find. The college cafeteria late at night. The lights were dim and the whole space seemed particularly quiet. Only 2 or 3 people were still eating in the corner. Yu Kuang sat alone at a dining table, and the food in front of him was no longer hot. He held chopsticks in his hand, but just fiddled with them mechanically, his eyes full of confusion. He was about to graduate, but the road ahead was vague, and he couldn't help but feel melancholy. Do I really have to go home and inherit the title of Viscount? But this kind of life always feels like something is missing. It's too peaceful, he thought silently in his heart. At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared and sat opposite him. Yu Kuang looked up and saw that the person coming was Zhao Li, the son of Marcus Zhao, and he couldn't help but frown. Zhao Li had a seemingly friendly smile on his face and said, "Yu Kuang, help me play a game tomorrow. I have to practice tomorrow. I don't have time." Yu Kuang put down his chopsticks and responded coldly. He knew in his heart that the other party was looking for him to play a game, and it was most likely a fake match. After all, he had participated in the soul fighting tournament before because he was short of money, so he had some understanding of these things. And everyone knew that Yu Kuang was an honest man. And he would not easily agree to such a thing that violated his principles. It's not a fake match, you just need to win by your own ability. The son of Marcus Zhao seemed to have expected that he would refuse. He took out a bag of gold coins from his arms calmly and put it on the table. The gold coins collided and made a crisp sound. "As long as you win, these are all yours." Yu Kuang looked at the bag of gold coins for a long time without saying anything, but he was struggling in his heart. Seeing this, the son of Marcus Zhao added fuel to the fire. "Also, your brother owes 1,000 gold coins in the soul fighting arena. As long as you agree, this debt will be written off." Yu Kuang's face instantly became gloomy. He was angry and annoyed that his brother actually owed so much money. He also knew in his heart that this might be a trap set by the other party. But at this time, he had no choice. In desperation, Yu Kuang gritted his teeth, agreed, and signed the soul fighting book handed over by the son of Marcus Zhao. The son of Marcus Zhao took a look and left with satisfaction. Yu Kuang was disturbed by this incident and instantly lost the mood to eat. He was also ready to get up and leave. At this moment, another person suddenly sat opposite him. Chapter 75. They are all bad people, only I am good to you. 10,000 more. Yu Kuang looked up and was stunned. "Lin Feng, huh? Do you know me?" Lin Feng was just about to greet him with a smile, and his tone was very gentle. Yu Kuang nodded, with a hint of surprise on his face. "I know you, a great genius and celebrity in the academy. What do you want to talk to me about?" Lin Feng was secretly happy. He didn't expect that Yu Kuang actually knew him. This would make things much easier. "I heard everything just now." He put away his smile and said to Yu Kuang with a serious face. Yu Kuang frowned immediately after hearing this. "If you also want to invite me to play a game, then don't ask for it." Lin Feng shook his head and said, "Do you really think he will be so kind? There are so many level 39 soul masters, and they will give 1,000 gold soul coins for a game. Such a good thing. How come I have never encountered it? He must have a conspiracy. If I'm not mistaken, he either drugged you, or your opponent is weird." Yu Kuang was shocked when he heard this. But after thinking about it carefully, he felt that what Lin Feng said did make sense. So what? If I lose, I lose. Soon, Yu Kuang regained his composure and said indifferently. Seeing that he didn't care, Lin Feng continued, "But you are participating in the competition on his behalf. It is no secret in the eyes of some people that he hired someone to play a fake game, and if you lose, how will others see you? Yu Kuang was stunned. He had never thought about this. Thinking that his reputation might be damaged, he was immediately angry and anxious. After a while, his eyes dimmed again, and he said helplessly, "But I have signed the letter of challenge. I must do what I promised. I can help you." Lin Feng looked at him and said sincerely. Yu Kuang looked at Lin Feng with a tangled face. After struggling in his heart, he just replied lightly, "No need." Although he didn't know what price Lin Feng would have to pay to help him, he thought he could handle this matter. As long as he wins, it's fine. Yu Kuang thought arrogantly in his heart. After speaking, he turned and left towards the cafeteria door. Lin Feng looked at his departing figure, silently memorized the date of the soul fighting, and did not chase him. He knew that some things could not be rushed, and Yu Kuang needed time to think. 3 days later, the soul fighting arena of Xiandao Academy was bustling with people. Lin Feng brought Dugu Yan and Yu Lingling here. Dugu Yan was so excited that her face was flushed, and she jumped all the way. "I didn't expect that you would bring us to the soul fighting arena to play, Lin Feng. I've been bored for a long time, and now there's a good show to watch." Dugu Yan pulled Lin Feng's arm and said excitedly. Lin Feng stood in the audience, frowning slightly. His eyes did not stay on the noisy crowd around him, but stared closely at the competition stage. "I'm not here to play, this time it's for one person." Yu Kuang, Lin Feng whispered to himself. Although the voice was soft, it was still heard by Dugu Yan beside him. Yu Kuang, Dugu Yan was slightly stunned when he heard Lin Feng's words. "Isn't that a member of the previous Xiandao team? It is said that this person is very loyal. I heard that Zhao Li, the son of Marcus Zhao, invited him to play a fake match a few days ago, but he refused." Lin Feng heard this, and a look of surprise appeared on his face. "This news has spread widely," Lin Feng said softly, with a slight smile on his face. He didn't expect that even Dugu Yan knew about this. It seems that this news has been spread to everyone. And behind this, Zhao Li must have been fueling the flames. At this time, the previous game on the field ended quickly. Next, please welcome the next player to the stage. One side is the disciple of the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family, Yu Xianli, a level 36 Soul Master. The other is a member of the previous Xiandao team, Yu Kuang, a level 39 Soul Master. The passionate voice of the host instantly spread throughout the fighting soul field through the loudspeaker. As the host's voice fell, Yu Xianli and Yu Kuang strode onto the competition stage. Yu Xianli was wearing a gorgeous blue robe with a lifelike dragon embroidered on it, which showed his noble status in the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family. Yu Kuang was wearing a simple black suit. Although it was plain, it could not hide the calm aura on him. The two went on stage. The cheers from the audience were deafening and soared into the sky. How can this level 36 beat level 39? Isn't this looking for a loss? Haha, who cares? I have bought 100 gold soul coins for Yu Kuang to win. Brother, come on. Under the stage, Yu Kuang's younger brother Yu Feng was also shouting loudly in the noisy crowd. Yu Kuang heard his brother's voice, turned his head and looked over, with a gentle smile on his face. But at this moment, his eyes suddenly found Lin Feng standing in the first row. Yu Kuang looked at Lin Feng and nodded slightly, and made a gesture to him to kill his opponent. Lin Feng saw Yu Kuang's move, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly, revealing a meaningful smile. It seems that the other party still didn't take his words to heart. Although the two souls differ by 3 levels, the gap between the top martial souls cannot be underestimated. Moreover, the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family has a mysterious skill, Dragon Transformation, which can fight across levels. However, Yu Kuang also got angry, and he should be able to win under normal circumstances. I'm just afraid of accidents. Yu Kuang looked at Yu Xianli opposite him, and his eyes instantly became alert. He remembered what Lin Feng said to him that night, and a sense of uneasiness surged in his heart. Who cares? With my own strength and experience, can I still beat him? Soon, Yu Kuang adjusted his state and rekindled his fighting spirit. Yu Xianli looked at Yu Kuang's nervous appearance, and a trace of disdain flashed in his eyes. You want to compare with the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex? It's simply overestimating your own abilities. He raised the corners of his mouth slightly, revealing a contemptuous smile and said. Yu Kuang ignored Yu Xianli's provocation and just stood there quietly. The soul power around him began to surge slowly, accumulating strength. The game begins. With the host's order, the two of them moved instantly. Martial soul possessed, wild wind bird. Although Yu Kuang's martial soul is a bird, wild wind bird, he chose to fight with his full strength of attack at the beginning. He was extremely fast, with the cold light flashing on his bird claws. With a fierce momentum, he grabbed Yu Xianlei fiercely. Martial soul possessed, blue lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex. Yu Xianlei was not to be outdone, and his martial soul blue lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex instantly possessed him. And his whole body was surrounded by a blue dragon. His arms instantly became thick and powerful, and were covered with a layer of hard dragon scales, flashing a cold light. Yu Xianlei took steady steps, waving his dragon claws, and went straight to meet Yu Kuang's attack. The speed of the two fighting and colliding was so fast that it was almost impossible to see their figures. Only a series of bang 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 sounds could be heard. The bird claws and dragon claws kept fighting, and sparks flew. The two seemed to be equally strong, and it was difficult to tell who would win for a while. Thanks to Tu Rider for the reward. Thanks to Kyanai, Yuizmi Uzhu, 1487, and 90 for sending me monthly tickets. Please read on. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.